What is up, fence fam? Joe Everest, your fence expert. What is up,
What is up, fence fam? Well, let me take that down. Here we go. There we are. What is up, fence fam? Welcome back to another live Q&A. Ask the experts, plural, today. Because today joining us, we've got Caleb and Sean. You guys know these guys. Let's add them in here. What is up, gentlemen?
Joe, Sean, how are y'all doing?
What's happening?
Doing well.
Glad to see you all made it.
Yeah, Sean's having a little technical difficulties. They shut his power off for like 3 seconds.
Rolling blackouts, the new America.
Maybe there's something going on in Evansville, Indiana that we don't know about yet.
I'm back up.
Oh,
You guys got me?
nah, you're super choppy.
Yes.
Super choppy.
All right, hang tight.
You got. We'll bring Sean down. Oh, you got it? No. All right. Caleb, what is up? How is it going?
Man, it's going great. Just picked a couple gallons of blackberries and then scooted over here and ready to go. Perfect.
You put them in ice cream or in cobbler?
Probably neither. Unfortunately, I'm on a sugar. I'm cut out sugar for a while, so
okay.
Probably
That's
just straight blackberries.
That's fair. That's fair. I think Sean. Okay, Sean might be back up. Let's see. Sean, how are you?
Yes, I'm back. Power's on,
There
and
he
we're on Wi-Fi now. I was on my phone. That was choppy.
Well, Well, gentlemen, welcome back to the show. I always enjoy having both of you on. Now, there's a reason that all three of us are on at the same time.
It takes three of us to figure out something.
Yeah, that's what it is. Is when we get three of us together, if you combine all of our technology, you get one good technology.
That's right.
That's what we're working on here. No, so we've got a training event coming up in Virginia. So, and actually, so Michael with Chesterfield Fence is hosting it. Unfortunately, he can't be with us today, doing a little bit of traveling, which is to be understood. Sean knows what that life is like. If you watch Sean on Facebook, you know he's been traveling for a little bit.
Just got back. Yep.
But yeah, so we're. I tell you what, instead of me talking about it, Caleb, how about you give a little bit on what you're going to be doing there in Virginia?
Well, I was so excited. I heard Sean was going to build 800 feet of shadow box at this class. And so I had to come, We're going
to. Hey, listen, we can do it. I just need everyone's help. So I need about 75 of you guys to show up.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Everybody gets a panel.
Yeah. Can you imagine 75 nail guns running about the same time?
Oh, yeah.
I thought I made the comment last week in Hawaii. It's like herding cats when you've got 30 or 40 people building fence at one time on the same line of fence.
Yep.
Well, at least you don't have the string line. Could you imagine if you were one of those string line guys, what would be going on?
We'd tangled up in the string line.
There'd be fist fights over there.
Everybody calm down. It's okay. I didn't hurt any string lines. It's okay.
Who bumped it? Who bumped the line? Who bumped it?
Off my line, yeah.
Who's on my line?
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Many young fence professionals yelled at by their dad over the string line.
With threats of bodily harm.
Or leaves it on top after they're done running pickets and forget about it. Just dangles up there for the customer to find.
Yep.
Yeah,
in the lawnmower.
Yeah, man. So I guess we've all committed to doing a training class again for staining, for wood restoration, for fence building, for marketing, for all the things that we do in our businesses. And here we are doing it again. Looks like people enjoy it. So we're going to go do another one.
Just a bunch of fence geeks talking about fence. Pretty much. And stain guys.
That's the thing. I enjoy it. We all three of us were up in Lincoln a month ago or so for the fence school they held up there. And really that's it. We talk about this a lot, but you do get value out of the thing, whether it's the convention, whether it's the training, but you almost get more value. I feel like I almost get more value from what happens after it. That evening around the dinner table, or after dinner or whatever. Because to Sean's point, it's a bunch of fence geeks hanging out and talking fence.
Yep.
Right.
You're sitting shoulder to shoulder with just a couple guys doing like this and back and forth. You're going to pick up a couple gold nuggets. So it's always good to hang around at night. That's it.
Yeah. Well, it's that whole, like, you're the sum of the 5 people that you're around the most or something to that effect. Right. So when I get in a room like that, I'm looking around, I'm like, who are the 5 people that I can get around right now and try to figure this out?
Yeah.
It really is. And of course, so in Nebraska, we're up at Matt Warner's place. So we were being fed incredibly well, which made dinner time last longer, which was nice.
And then the after party, we were provided plenty of liquid courage.
Yeah.
So the after party lasted quite a while until wee hours of the morning.
Yeah, that's what I hear. That's why I had to catch a flight that next morning. So I was out of there by about 11 or 12, but I heard it went a little bit late.
Yeah, so Matt's got some soldiers there. They were there till like 3 o'clock in the morning. I bailed at early midnight. I didn't have it in me. But there's some young guns that were there pretty late.
Yeah.
Do that. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, let's say hi to some folks. Well, no, let's do this. So Sean, so we talked to Caleb about what he's doing, training up some stain folks. Sean, what are you going to be doing at the training?
So the objective is to do very close to the same thing we did in Nashville. We got great feedback from Nashville. People loved what we did in Nashville. So why change it? It's going to be pretty much a similar operation. We're going to build some fence. Michael Davis, I talked to him yesterday. I don't know if you guys have, but he locked down the facility. So we're actually going to build a fence that's going to stay, right? So there's a reason for it. We're not going to tear it up. We're helping the facility out at the same time. So we're going to build a good quality fence that's going to stay. And it'll be dog-eared privacy generic fence that can be stained. And we're going to talk about the process and procedures. We're not really going to get into, how do we build the perfect fence? We're talking about how do we build a company that builds repeatable, measurable, teachable processes on how to build fence. That's kind of what we're going to get into.
Yeah.
Tell us about the fence, Sean. How big is it?
So I don't know how many lineal feet it is, but I think he tells me it's going to be less than a couple hundred feet. I believe is what he said. He don't have the exact dimensions yet. And fairly simple. He says it's at a ball field. So plenty of parking, plenty of area, plenty of open space to play around. We do plan on putting in some vinyl fence you'd like to see with driven post. We'll end up taking that back up, but hopefully we have enough time. We didn't do that in Nashville. We built vinyl fence and pulled it out, but we made drive post, and I might even drive some wood posts. I'm sorry, steel for wood, just similar to what you're doing, Postmasters, right, Joe? So we might as well play around with that process as well, right? Because there's a lot of guys going that way, and a lot of conversations to be had on what makes the most sense. How do we do it? How do we flip the posts? How do we make it to a process repeatable?
Nice.
Nice.
So we're going to learn all about staying and then all about building fence.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm glad to hear it's not a shadow box. We'll stain anything but a shadow box. So.
I don't want to build a shadow box. I try desperately not to build it. However, we're designing a new tool right now that we'll probably have with us there that will allow you to build board-on-board fence. We have a shadow box tool already, but a board-on-board fence with no spacer, no tape measure, and no level.
Interesting.
You'll be able to put pickets up, we think, 3 times as fast, more accurately, with this tool. So hopefully we have that there. We might do a couple panels just to show what it would be like to do a space fence. The difference between a board-on-board is you're not starting and stopping at every post like shadow box.
Yeah.
So the shadowlizer does a great job. But if you're just going to keep running and gunning, most guys use a spacer block and they keep on going. Then they got to level every single picket with a torpedo level. And as I've been traveling, watching more and more guys do board-on-board, I cringe at the amount of time it takes them to nail every single picket up and go back and level it and nail it up and then go back and put one more over top of it. If you had a positive stop, top and bottom, for every single picket, you wouldn't need a level, and you wouldn't need a tape measure, and you wouldn't need a spacer block, and one guy can hammer down and nail the pickets as he goes.
Yeah.
So we're working on that currently.
Interesting. I like that a lot. So what I'm going to be talking about there in Virginia is we're going to be talking about marketing. Right, that's one part of the business that I absolutely love. Obviously, we've got this channel because I enjoy doing it. We talk about marketing. We talk about just video production in general. I had a good interview with Master Halco yesterday. They put out a newsletter, and I'm not a great person because I don't remember what that newsletter is called, but they put it out quarterly. So anyway, but we were talking about her question was one of her questions is the same question everybody asks. What if I don't have the technology to shoot videos? What do I do then? So, well, Rebecca, I've got some good news for you. Everybody's got a smartphone.
Sure, they do.
And if you've got a smartphone, then you can shoot better quality videos than I did in the beginning. That guaranteed, because these things will shoot 4K. Now, so you got a phone, and anybody that's heard me talk has heard me talk about this a lot. I mean, I've said it on here a lot too, but if you've got a phone, you've got the technology required, now it's just on you. Right now it's on your shoulders. You can get a tripod for this thing. Where is, see if I can't dig out my tripod.
What do you got under there? There you go. What?
That's a tripod for a phone.
Check that out. I've never seen.
Phone goes right in here.
It looks like it's oversized, like for a giant Flintstone phone.
Yeah, well, no. So I mean, it's to accommodate all sorts of phones.
Okay.
So this is spring loaded, so it'll hold little phones, it'll hold big phones. The thing is, what's the big Android? The Galaxy. Those things are massive, so it needs to hold that too, right? So
you put your iPad in there too, don't you?
No, it couldn't fit an iPad. But this thing, so it's got handles on it. So if you wanted to, you could shoot without a tripod, just by holding it. So it's got a couple good handholds there. Of course, you set it up to where your lens is right there. So that way it gives you more of a firm grasp. for more of a steady shot.
Right.
So, but it's obviously got a mount for landscape. It's got a mount for portrait. It's got cold shoes on it, which just means that you can mount a light and an audio. You could mount whatever you want to on this thing. A wireless receiver is what we do a lot. We use those Rode wireless mics.
Yep.
Stuff. You can mount the receiver on one. If you wanted to, you could mount a light on the other one, like a little LED light. Those things are incredibly powerful. And now you've got the technology to be shooting videos immediately, right? So that was one of her questions, and we talked about that for a little bit. But that was essentially the answer. Is you've got a smartphone. Smartphones now, you can do a live video on Facebook. If you've got a YouTube channel, you need to get up over whatever their minimum is right now. They've got a minimum for users, a minimum for watch time before you can go live. But once you clear that, you can go live on YouTube straight from your cell phone, or you can record it. I usually, we're off on a tangent now, but I usually prefer live over.
Imagine that.
I know. This is what I'm talking about, people.
Live is better because it's natural and people can relate and appreciate the interaction, right? Feel like you're actually talking to you, even though you can't talk back. But recorded video is different. It's more polished and not as intriguing as live. I find even the bloop, even when you make a mistake live, it feels more natural, right? Natural conversation with somebody is in play. So,
if I go live, I'll hit it the first time. If I try to do the takes, it's terrible.
You'll hit it live because you have to.
Yeah.
Or you don't, and it's okay. Like you might miss something, and you just redo it. Like, what I meant to say was, or you might re-say it, and that makes it more natural, like a natural conversation we're having right now. Like, in person is the same way.
This is the real world. This is what's really going to happen on a fence job or a stain job. You're going to see this, and we're going to show it.
Absolutely.
However, if you have no idea what you're talking about, it's going to show.
Yeah.
We had a formula we used when we were doing recorded video, which we still do recorded, but it's better now. But for every minute of recorded video is about an hour for shooting, for editing. Yeah. Now, there's also economies of scale, so I don't mean that 30 minutes would take 30 hours, to film and edit. But, if you're doing a 5-minute video, it's probably going to take 4 or 5 hours by the time you shoot the thing over and over. Now you've got to edit and figure out which one of those takes was the keeper. You got to put it all together. You got to get it out. You got to upload it and all that. I mean, you're talking about some serious time commitment here. Or you could spend that 5 minutes on live and be done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm a execute now and perfect it later. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. 5 minutes over 5 hours. Absolutely. Let's say hi to some folks. Everybody's been waiting patiently. Of course, we know Roger's been waiting. Roger's here. He's here early every day. Grabbing some popcorn. Hello, Joe and Caleb. But don't worry, Sean. He says here in a minute.
I see it.
Roger.
Sean as well.
Bonus.
So when I created this recorder, or when I scheduled the live here, I had just Caleb. So I added Sean late, and I apologize. Couldn't find out there's not a great way to edit the title after you've already scheduled it. We're all learning stuff.
I've learned that you can't edit TikToks after they're up.
That's the truth.
That's a learning lesson.
All right. So I had my mic on when I was setting up the video. So, yeah, Roger, it was on, but that's okay. You get a little taste of what's coming. So what Roger's referring to is during the countdown, you guys heard about a 5-second audio clip of the video that we're going to watch here in a little bit. So if you stay to the end, you get a sneak peek of this week's video, which is, so we had a 45-foot boom lift on site here at the shop. We were hanging cameras and lights and stuff. So I was like, what can we do? We had it they weren't going to come pick it up till the next day. Like, we got a 45-foot boom lift. Why don't we drop heavy stuff on fence panels?
What?
That sounds good. So we took this thing up 45 foot in the air, and we had some steel ornamental panels, some aluminum panels. We had some old chain link gates, and we had a wood panel or a steel framed wood gate. And so we dropped 4x4s on them. We dropped a round rail wood post on it. We dropped a cinder block and a sandbag. It's pretty good stuff. All that's coming up. You got to stick around to the end.
Stay tuned.
James Helton says Central Florida checking in. James, how are you? Probably wet right now, right? Central Florida. Hope you're holding on.
Give me some more coffee. What are you doing?
Got it. Wallace Wimmer, I love that name. Hey, fellas, showers with your knowledge this beautiful Saturday morning. Now, that's some positivity for you. Wallace, I appreciate that positivity. We're going to do our best. That's why I brought these two on, so they could shower us with knowledge. Craig Yarmula, welcome, Craig. Good morning from New Jersey. What's up, Jersey boy? Unless you think that's negative, and then I didn't say that. James Helton, plugged in one too many electric cars. We're going to say that for when Sean gets back. Wallace is here from Bridgeport, West. By God, Virginia here. It's the Beverly Hills of West Virginia. I love it. I love it. I love your content. Keep it coming. Hey, Sean, we got a comment here for you.
I can hear you.
You plugged in one too many electric cars.
The funny part about that is I don't own any electric cars, but I was looking last night. We're looking at buying 2 or 3 for estimating vehicles. Like we're thinking, how clever would that be? And I'm looking at the Kia and Tesla 3. And
Ruben, that's all they run. All their sales trucks and cars are Teslas.
Yeah.
Who?
Guy named
Ruben Borg.
Yeah.
Yes, I know Ruben. Yeah.
Yeah. If you buy those cars at a certain time, you can get unlimited supercharge on them. So you can charge them forever, really fast, and there's zero maintenance. The only thing you do is put tires on them, and it's the safest car on the road.
So it's funny you said, because literally last night I was like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of buying trucks and wasting all the fuel on these estimating vehicles. Some take-home cars. I got some team members that just get a vehicle to take home. Like they don't. That's all it is. Like they have an hour drive, and we just give them. It's advertising the whole way. Like if I wrap that thing, I'm getting 2 hours advertisement every day. He gets a take-home car. So I was like, you know what? Maybe we should just look at this. But 30,000, you can buy an electric car now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I agree.
We've got a plan here at Ozark Fence. So, and I'm following Matt Warner's suggestion. And he says, if you've got a plan and you want to make it serious, you call it an operation. You give it an operational title. So we've got Operation Tesla. So Operation Tesla is we've got an office. So when we bought these buildings, one of the buildings is separate from the rest. It's an old service station. So it's a one room. It's got like basically a big office and a bathroom, but it's not connected to anything. So we don't use it. I don't want anyone being separate, out from the office, but it's attached to the parking lot. So what can we do with that? And to add to this, we're on Route 66. So Route 66 cuts through Springfield, Missouri. It goes right past my front door. So we get tons of people that travel past here every day from all over the world. So I was thinking, what could we do with this? I was like, I know exactly what we can do with this. We'll invest in Tesla superchargers, get a couple of them.
Yep.
Mount them up. And that office will turn into a Route 66 rest station.
I love it.
Whatever we want to call it. Right. I'll have an artist come in, do up the whole interior of Route 66, do a nice mural. It's got a restroom, so we could, restroom if you want to use that. While it's charging, we'll have a couch in there, a TV, and all that sort of stuff.
I love it.
I think, Operation Tesla. So it all started when I was like, so we're on the list for the Tesla trucks, the Cyber trucks.
Yeah,
now,
so are we.
So they're supposed to start production late this year. Maybe, that was before all the crazy supply line issues and all that. So we'll see is kind of the thing. But then I got to thinking, like, all right, well, I'm going to have a charger, but if I have a charger for one vehicle, that doesn't make sense, right? It's really inefficient to have this whole, have this equipment that only gets used once a day, right? Or once, it's not even once a day. It's like 500 miles to the charge. So once every couple days. How can we put it into service? How can we keep this thing running? And that's kind of what I came up with. Actually, I was sitting at the cafe and there was a guy with a Tesla car, the Tesla SUV, and they're from Chicago. So Route 66 starts up in Chicago. It ends in California. Where is it? Santa Barbara. They're at the pier. So they're doing a Route 66 trip. I was like, I've heard about that, but that's like a thing. Route 66 trips. He's like, oh yeah. He said there's companies in Chicago that if you're from out of the country, this is big This is a big thing in South America and in Japan. They fly into Chicago, and there's companies that will set up. Here's your vehicle. Here's your map. We have reservations for you at hotels along the way. Literally, they hand them the keys and a map and say, see you in Santa Barbara. Like, that's nuts.
I like it.
I'd like to do that.
I like it.
I think that would be cool. I think it would be really cool. But that's Operation Tesla. Just we got off on that tangent talking about electric cars.
Well, man, something hit me just a second ago. This one guy said, drop some knowledge on us or something.
Yeah,
like
sprinkle
that.
knowledge. Yeah.
And so I heard somebody ask a question, and I've never even thought about it myself, but I figured I'd ask you guys. Maybe all three of us should do this. Let me ask 2 questions. Well, I'm going to ask the first one, and then everybody go around and just give the answer. Number 1, what have you learned in the last 12 months or so that was a game changer for you?
And I learned so many small nuggets. This is what I picked up in Hawaii, blew my mind on different things. Look at the pool, right? So the kiddie pool blew my mind. Like I have the dig jig for digging holes and collecting the dirt. We've done it with plywood before. We've done it with all sorts of stuff. But you take a freaking $19 kiddie pool, plastic, cut a 10-inch hole out the middle of it, and now you're digging holes and collecting all the dirt, heaving everything out of the grass, pick it up, put in a wheelbarrow, move on. Like, so simple. I released that video and it has like 3.2 million views right now, but it's so simple. So golden nugget, right? I'm getting those golden nuggets all the time. Game changer. Just unbelievable.
Yeah. So talking about video marketing, it's on that same vein of what we were talking about before. This might've been more than 12 months ago, but it's recent enough done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I heard a speaker talk about that at Vid Summit, and and it was probably they thought it was one insignificant sentence in this whole speech they gave or this whole talk they gave, but that was powerful to me. Right. Done is better than perfect. So it kind of ties in with when we're talking about live. Like, that's why I just get passionate about lives, because it's done immediately. Right. So now that is not the case when we're building fence. Right. We do not talk about that on the fence building side. Done is not better than perfect. But yeah, that's kind of my golden nugget. How about you, Caleb?
Yeah, probably one I've known for years or heard for years, and just probably the last year or two I've been able to implement it better, is just learning how to get out of your own way in business. And I guess a lot of that ties into the power of delegation and being willing to let things go. And it's worked really well for us. Question number 2. Go ahead.
Hold on, real quick on that thought, because I got something to say about that. I talk to people about getting out of their business and get out of the car, get out of the driver's seat. Don't run your business from inside the business. Work on your business from outside your business. Something clicked the other day. I was having this conversation, trying to say the same thing over and over and over to different people, and it came out of my mouth. I'm like, holy shit, that makes sense. Think about your business like this. Instead of having things go through you, right? So like processes and procedures that go through you, there's things in your business you want to be in control of, and you want them to go through you. Like, hey, I'm going to check all estimates over 30,000, whatever it is that go through you. They stop at you, Caleb and Joe and me. They stop here. Those are things that go through you. Just like you say, get out of your way, get out of your way. Think about it this way. Stop having things go through you and have things go by you, right? So in other words, everything in your business goes by you right here, right in front of your face. Everything's streaming by you. And at any point, you can grab any piece of that business and you can check on it, check it, measure it, hey, this makes sense, and send it on its way, right? But when we have things go through us, they get stuck inside us. They get stuck at us. We're the problem. The owners, the entrepreneurs, we're the problem. Get the hell out of the way. So start thinking about everything in your company as a process, a procedure. It goes by you. Nothing goes through you. Every process goes by you in some way. In other words, if you don't do nothing, it will continue on. Now, it might be may not be the best. It might make a mistake and it might get messed up, but that process is going to happen. Period. It's getting sent, right? So everything goes by you. Nothing goes through you. And it clicked for me. I'm like, holy crap, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be involved. I want to grab those things going by, but if I can't, I don't want the system to stop, because again, done is better than perfect.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It might not be perfect going by you, but at least you didn't stop the damn thing from happening, right? And cut the feet off underneath your team members of saying, well, everything starts with me. The buck stops with me. Well, no, like, build it to where it runs without you.
Yeah.
Your job is to work on it. Does that make sense? What do you
Yeah,
guys
that
think?
makes perfect
Yeah.
sense.
So here's how I always picture it is the president of the United States, right? Do you think that he decides every policy decision that comes out of the White House? Probably not. He has a team, right?
Mhm.
Now, his team has meetings and he gives his team direction. I want this to happen. I want this to happen. This is where I want this ship to go. And then the team disperses and just make sure that happens, right? And so they're in charge of policy. And I'm sure, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the president's involved in higher level policy stuff. But
Right.
on some of the low level stuff, if it's a legal issue, he's got his, he's got the attorney general that just makes those decisions for him.
Right.
That says, all right, here is my guidance. He told me that this is his thought process and this is where he wants to go. So I'm going to make decisions based on that. And, if I need to, I can go talk to him about it. But 90% of the things that come across my desk, he doesn't need to know about. Right. It just stuff that I'm capable of handling.
Yeah. I think we saw a lot of that during this whole COVID thing with Trump and all of his people. He really did a good job of bringing, all right, he gets up, he's the figurehead, and then he brings in this professional,
Right.
and gave them the floor. And he said, hey, these are really smart people. They're going to come in and do this. So I think
that's part of hiring people that are better than you. The objective is to hire people better than us. That's the
absolutely.
We're the creative, the innovative guys, but we got to get the specialists to do everything in between.
Yep. I got a comment like that on one of my videos. Actually, this comment comes up occasionally where they'll say, well, let's see you build a fence. Okay. Like I can, right? We demonstrated that at fence installation school. I can build a chain link fence. However, I find people that are better at it than I am, and they build the fence because everyone here, every team member here has a spot on the team. And again, to use analogies, a baseball team. Can the catcher pitch? Probably. Like he could probably get the ball over the plate, but he's not a specialist at it. He's a specialist at catching. Can the pitcher catch? Sure. Like he could probably put his glove on a ball, but he's not going to be an expert at throwing guys out that are stealing second.
Yep.
Right. So that's kind of the ultimate goal. So right now we're going through. It's similar to a disc profile. It's called Working Genius. To figure out what everyone's strengths and weaknesses are.
That's a game changer, man.
Yeah, we're interviewing the team. We're sitting in the dugout saying, hey, who's got skills at throwing guys out to second? We got Tim as catcher, and Tim does a great job of being catcher, but maybe somebody else has that skill too.
I got them for everybody.
Nice job, Caleb.
The do's and don'ts. And I want y'all to see something. Y'all's are probably all like mine. You see, there's not a whole lot of red.
Yeah.
To me, look at mine.
Yeah. That's an entrepreneur. Yep.
Yeah. And then, we got guys. But anyways, we did this for everybody. And then this is the disc profile. And then we did a training on it. We had the Zig Ziglar company do a training on just what the heck does it mean? And man, it's pretty funny. They're talking about the dominant or like the eyes, they show up to the, what is it? The S, maybe the S's or the C. The C goes to the gun range and they go aim, 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 and they never fire. The S goes to the gun range and they're like, is my gun too loud? Do you want me to stop? I can wait. And then the I shows up, the party guys, and they've lost their gun. They don't even know where it is. And then the D, the dominant person, comes in and they've got like a freaking 50 caliber gun. And then they're like, fire, aim, they fire right away. And it's pretty funny to go through it.
I like that analogy.
But everybody at their desk, man, they got this sitting there. And of course I got copies of everybody. And if I'm going to have a meeting with somebody, I'm going to pull this out and I'm going to study the do's and don'ts. And pretty big deal. It makes a big difference. It seems so silly until you do it.
Caleb, we did a disc here too, and I will tell you it's a game changer. And it was years ago we did it. I need to do it again.
Yeah.
So I should have brought it up here. The Working Genius, these all kind of work in the same way, right? So Working Genius talks about wonder. What is it? Wonder, discernment, tenacity, galvanizing. There's another one. and it's probably not. It's not the one I'm good at. So that's probably that. But so you have 6 things. 2 give you energy. 2 are energy neutral, and 2 take energy. Right. So for me, it's wonder, and it's not invention. It's so one. There's one where basically like I don't know the process. I will think up the idea, and I'll give us a general idea of how I want us to do that. But then I have no interest in creating the flow chart of exactly what that process looks like. In tenacity, seeing things through to the end, tenacity will take this list and say, I will not feel complete until I check off every box. Like that will drive me. So that's not me either. And so we're looking at this list of all our team members. We're like, okay, we need to team up people with tenacity that will see things through to the end with the people that are creating the plans.
That's a good idea.
So, and yeah, that's kind of what we're in the middle of. So we do a meeting. We do basically an all company day, the last Friday of every month. It was the last Wednesday. Now it's the last Friday of every month, where basically we're like, what big, workshop projects need to get done. It's to focus on us so that we can serve our people better. Right. So that's the one day a month where are there any shop projects? Are there any office projects? Are there any? Then we have lunch. We bring lunch in. And in the past, it's been then we all just chit chat for about 45 minutes. Then we'll do some sort of fun team building. We usually throw bags or something like that. And then everybody cuts out. Right. So now we're going to be a little bit more purposeful with what we're doing. So we're going to talk about in your case, Caleb, I saw the picture of you guys had the big team meeting discussing DISC and training on it. That would be our opportunity to say, hey, once a month, we're going to have a big meeting. This month, we're going to talk about the wonder profiles, the working genius profiles.
Give me a link on that. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm the guy who wants to go kill the bear and then drag it home, but I don't want to skin it.
Yeah.
I want somebody else to skin it for me. So
that's an entrepreneur for you.
Yeah.
Well, in that analogy, I'm the guy that goes, you know what we ought to do? We ought to go get a bear. And what we probably should do, we should probably take some weapons with us. We should probably have a way to get that thing back here. All right, let's go. And someone else like, whoa. I need a materials list on exactly which weapons we want, which vehicles we're going to take. Someone else is like, yeah, which highway are we going to take to get there? Where are we going to find this thing? And I'm like, guys, I don't know. I told you, like, we need.
I'm even worse. Like, I show up to the bear cave and I'm like, hey, what do you guys got, a pocket knife? Like, I'm gonna go in there. Give me.
Yeah. Hey, you guys knew we were coming here. Somebody should have thought about this and brought this. Right?
The S and the disc guys like, do we have a license for this? Are we allowed to do this? Is this legal?
Yeah. Should we have hired a guide? There's a guide probably, right?
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Well, I got another question for you if you guys want it.
You got it.
Go.
What is the one thing that pisses you off that everybody else doesn't know it?
Oh.
Or just drives you nuts that everybody just doesn't know this?
That everybody doesn't know it.
That it's not common knowledge, something like that. Maybe in business. Knowledge.
Huh. Well, I have to think about that one for a minute. I'm going to give you a good answer.
I know. Well, I don't get really ticked about stuff.
Well, you not necessarily get ticked. You don't. Let me give you mine. And this one is it. So everybody asks me, and they probably ask Joe the same thing. What is the best? I'm a brand new guy. I want to start advertising my business. What's the best thing I could do? How much money should I spend on this or that? And I don't get pissed off, but I say, hey guys, how many fence companies? You want to be a stain contractor. How many fence companies have you called in the last month? Well, I haven't called any of them. And so it just drives me nuts that people don't think to call. If you want to be a plumber, call every house builder in town. If you want to be a fence stainer, call every fence builder in town. Get to be known like they did it in the old days, so that no technology crash, nothing can shut you down. You are known in your marketplace, and that's one of the things. And pair that with social media and all these other things. But you need to leverage your cell phone and just freaking call people, text them once a week or whatever. That's how I grew my business, was just texting fence guys. And then every time I'd stain a Mr. Fence, I'd just text him a picture and say, man, this looks good on you. And I'd show his fence sign with a stained fence. You do that to 50 guys a week, you're going to have more leads coming in than you can handle. You're not going to be able to take them all. and that's free.
That's good.
So that one just drives me crazy that people don't, and it's not everybody, but that drives me crazy that it's not more prevalent to do old-fashioned cold calling.
So I know what drives me nuts the most, and it's probably not common knowledge, but once I say it, you're like, yeah, that's right. The word impossible, right, to me fires me up. Don't tell me it's impossible. Don't tell me I can't do it. And don't tell me it's always or every time or it has to be that way or always has been that way, right?
Yep.
That frustrates me. And I jump into these tangents with people that say, well, you always have to, or you have to, or every time, or no,
that
not
never
really.
works.
That never works, right? That has never worked. Like, wait a minute, hold on. You may say it may not be the best idea or may not have some merit, but there's no way you're going to tell me it's impossible. There's never going to work. It always works. Like, there's the word always and never shouldn't exist. I think impossible is the one that fires me up. When I see impossible, I see I am possible. That's how I read it. That's how I read it every time. I will not read it as impossible. Yeah. And if people stop looking at that as a possibility that it exists, impossible is fake. So it's that. And then the other one is I'll give you is when people say common sense. Drives me up the wall. And I'll fire right back at you. If you use the word common sense, we'll be like, wait. Common sense does not exist in this world, period. The way it does not exist. You have two things in this world. You have no sense and you have superior sense. There's nothing common about sense. If everybody had commonly had sense, then we wouldn't be calling it. So it's not common at all. Like either have no sense or superior sense, but there's not a common thing. Unfortunately, common sense doesn't exist. You have superior or no sense. That's it.
Interesting.
Well, I'll touch on the first one you said, Sean. When I first started making stain, I got tired of smelling like a paint factory as an owner-operator. And so I said, well, if I'm going to make stain, it's not going to sting.
Right.
And so we made it. I found a way to do it without solvents. And it kind of made me feel at first that I wasn't worthy or something, and I worried about it. And I worked with different chemists and things. And a lot of them said, well, it's impossible. You can't do it like that. It's everybody does it this way. Why don't you do it? And finally, I worked with this chemist that we hired, and he'd been doing wood coatings for about 40 years. And he could sense that, are we doing this wrong? Are we doing this wrong? And he asked me a question. He said, why do you think that all these other companies are making their stains with thinners and solvents? And I said, well, I could do it a lot cheaper like that. I could do it cheaper. And he just folded his arms and he went, okay. And then that just pretty much released me of, okay, I'm not messing this up. We're doing it right. What we're doing is working. And here we are today. So impossible and by the book has never served me very well.
All the way we always have done it. My daddy said, we've always done it this way.
Yeah, that's a saying is the most expensive phrase used in a business is because that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you something.
I feel anxiety building up right now already just because you said
so check this out. Let's go. Get you guys excited. A friend of mine, Will, he may be listening. Will down in San Antonio, Stain and Steel. He's a pretty big, I think 24 crews or something like that. Staining 24, maybe 12 crews. I'm not sure. 24 people. They hired a company, paid them a couple, pretty good chunk of money to do an efficiency deal, and they work with 100 million down to $2-3 million companies in the construction trades. And these people came in and followed all their team members around for some time and produced a 40-page report on efficiencies and how they could do it. And he told me with the first year with this report they sent him, it's going to save him like 5,200 man hours. And one of the things that was a huge one was just fueling up the trucks in the afternoon instead of in the morning.
Yeah.
That one right there, they said save like 38 minutes a day, because in the morning they lean on the hood of the truck, they smoke a cigarette, they're eating their breakfast, they're chilling out, it's cool. In the afternoon, it went from a 45-minute average stop to a 9-minute average stop. So
you want to go home.
Yeah, they want to go home. And they still stopped and got breakfast in the morning, and it still saved them 30, 39, 40 minutes. Also, like cleaning a paintbrush, he said it was cheaper for them to throw a paintbrush away than to clean it and reuse it. Just all kinds of stuff that you're going to share some of those things with us, but maybe something to look into if you're trying to get that efficiency, man. That's pretty interesting that there's companies that are really good at that and pulling that out of you. And I guarantee you, everything that they talk about is not at all the way they've always, the way people have always done it.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Joe, what bugs you the most?
I'll give you mine, and I think it bugs everybody. When you see in these Facebook groups, what does everyone charge for X?
Oh God.
And there's like 3 times a day. What's
My
everyone
question
charge?
now is, what does it cost you? What's it going to cost you?
I just quit.
Exactly. I know. That's what I mean. That's what, like, one, this is an illegal conversation, and you can argue with me all you want, but there are fence guys sitting in federal prison for collusion. So, or whatever the charge is for, collusion. So price fixing, whatever you want to call it. It's a Sherman Act. So one, you can try to debate on whether it's legal or not legal. I would prefer just not to have that argument, because typically that argument happens in court, right? So let's just skip that altogether. And the thing is, Sean, we've had this conversation before, and Caleb, we have too. We could be I could be in Evansville, Indiana, and I can have the same amount of people Sean has, and I can use the same material Sean has, and I can have the same size building Sean has. And you know what? We'll have different pricing.
That's right.
Because our team members will operate at different efficiencies. Everyone's human. We haven't figured out a way to have robots build fences yet. But our trucks are going to run at different efficiencies, and Sean and I have different ideas on what a business should look like.
Wants and desires. What do you want out of the business?
Well, also,
I think different.
I think the deeper thing is, when guys ask that price, it is they've not come to terms with the fact that they really need to dig in and figure this out. Instead, you can sort of, well, if it's working for him, it'll work for me, and I can keep moving. And it's we've all been there, as owner operators, and it's like, well, the same thing you're talking about. We've always done it this way. It's always been by the foot or by this panel or whatever. We're just going to keep doing it.
And they think if they're just a little bit under that price, they can sell all day long. Why would they buy from you? They can buy cheaper from me. Yeah.
Yep. They say, hey, he's a big guy and he's successful. Yeah. So I'm going to undercut him a little bit, and I'm going to be great.
Well, it's like the power wash community, these power washing guys. You get them, they come into the Facebook groups and they just whine and moan about the $99 guy that does house washes for $99. And then you go interview the guy and he goes, I got 37 guys. We do $8 million a year in house washes. We run, we're efficient. We run about a 60% margin. And you go, the $99 guy's making more than the $500 guy.
Yeah. Well,
because he's figured his numbers out. He's figured out how to run that thing.
That's the thing is, if a guy just starting out, well, okay, this happens. So one of my guys decides that he's going to go make all the money he thinks that we make. Okay. Right. So he leaves, and that's fine. God bless you. Be good at it. So, but the thing is, he's like, all right, well, I know that they are at X dollars per foot for this particular type of fence. Mm-hmm. So let's say wood fence for this example. I'm going to be X minus $2 a foot so that I can be almost like him, but a little bit better, because I really can't. I can't say that I use better materials, because I don't. I can't say that I've been in business longer, because I haven't. So what is my competitive advantage? It will be less money.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where are you going to buy your materials, bud? You can buy them from a retailer, right? Typically, wholesalers usually require you to have an established business. There's some requirements.
Buy in bulk. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's what they don't take. That's what in this example he doesn't take into account, is that we buy wood by the multiple truckloads, right? So that we can whittle that number down.
That's right.
If I was going to go buy 100 pickets from Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, that price per picket is going to be significantly higher than what I pay when we buy multiple truckloads.
Well, not just that, but they're going to pay a team member or themselves to go get it, fuel, wear and tear, maintenance, and time as well, to get the same damn picket that we bought by a truckload that came right to us.
Yeah.
No effort at all. Made a phone call, sent an email. There it is. Right. So owner operators, smaller guys haven't figured that part out yet. All the behind the scenes money that you're going to spend, if they didn't write a check for it, they'll tell you, well, I don't have any other expenses. They add up.
They don't realize the responsibility. Once your business gets to a certain size, you may have a ton of money in the bank, but that money, you can't just go buy a new yacht with it. It's a responsibility to protect your people, and you got to have it there.
Yeah, it's used.
It's
Yeah.
just sitting there, and it's this thing for emergencies, for materials, for payroll, whatever. You got to have it.
So let's talk about money for a second, because that's another one of my things, is knowing at a moment's notice how much clean profit your business has. And I don't mean, so clean profit is money that you can take out that won't affect anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think too many times people rely on a profit and loss statement, which the statement will only be as accurate as the person entering the information.
And
Right.
it's time sensitive, right? So a P&L statement, no matter when you take that snapshot, you are taking parameters of everything else because the business is still running, right? So there's things that are the dust's gonna settle, right? So you have to imagine stopping your business and then recapturing what materials out on job sites, what's traveling, what's been staged, what's been done, what's been collected, opportunities. There's a lot moving pieces. So you're right. P&Ls are very difficult because there's a time sensitivity piece to it, and you have to make adjustments for that. Period.
So we use a system called Profit First, and Profit First essentially. So you guys should go find this. It's an audio book. I'm not a big like sit down and read, like that bugs me because it feels inefficient. But I like audiobooks because while I'm traveling somewhere, I can also be listening. That feels efficient to me. So, but there's an audiobook, Profit First for Contractors. And essentially, and I'm going to boil this book down to like a few sentences, and it's oversimplifying it, but you have an income account where just all the money goes, right? And then from that income account, based on your business, you divvy that out based on percentages to operating expenses, payroll. Okay, what are our, so we got OPEX, payroll, owner's comp, we've got taxes, and profit. So when this money hits that profit account based on a percentages, and understand if all three of us did this, we would have three different percentages, right? So my percentage is my percentage, and it doesn't matter to anybody else what it is because it's based on my business. But once that money hits the profit account, it's done. It is clean profit, meaning there's nothing else that comes out of it. It is distilled profit. So, and whatever money I have in OPEX is that money to play with. By doing that, I can look up my phone right now and know how much money we have available for OPEX, which can be anything that operates a business, right? How much money I have for payroll, how much money I have pre-saved for taxes. So Mark Olson talked about this in this week's Successful Contractor. Like, you should be paying taxes, right? The goal is not zero taxes.
Right.
Zero taxes is a problem for a lot of different reasons, but by saying we are going to allocate X percent of every dollar that comes into taxes, it just sits there, right? And the beautiful thing about the tax account is if we happen to buy some equipment and it reduces our tax burden, that extra money that's left in there, guess where that money goes?
Comes from it.
Yeah, it goes to profit. After we pay the tax bill, that money goes to profit. So it also has an owner's expense or an owner's comp. So that's, as the owner of the business, that's how I get paid, right? So that's my payment for taking a risk on the business, essentially, like making this thing go. It, tossing and turning at night, trying to think about where work's going to come from the next day, or whatever it is. So anyway, I would highly encourage you guys to read the book or listen to the audiobook, Profit First for Contractors. It changed how I run the finance for this company, and it's just beautiful. And it works in so many ways. So the income account, once you clear money, it's a clearing account. Money gets moved out every day. So it sits in there during the day, and at the end of the day, it gets moved out to these different accounts. So what happens, say, how many times has this happened to you guys? So someone will run their $12,000 bill on their American Express, and the job's done. It's signed off for. We got an email that says, hey, things look great. But then we get a chargeback. And we say, wait a minute, chargeback? You said we did the job just right. I don't have any customer complaints. And they said, well, yeah, but here's the thing. It put me over the limit, and I get in trouble for that. So I just charged it back, and I'm going to bring you a check. Well, wait a minute. That's not going to work, right? Because now you're taking money from me. I've already paid the processing fee. You're going to take money from me anyway. And if a company worked out of one checking account, which a lot do, well, that money gets pulled out immediately.
Right.
right? So now you're out 12 grand and you have to hope that guy is bringing you a check because you probably have other things waiting on that money. In this scenario with the clearing account, now, sure, it does take the income account to negative, right? But that doesn't affect my business because that money is already allocated in OPEX, owner's comp, taxes, payroll, and all that money's already there. And then we can bicker with the bank about that negative balance on the clearing account because we can say, here is the great job email. Here is the signed checklist where he walked over it with the team and said the fence looks great. It's not my fault that he doesn't know his finances, right?
Yeah. So what's the process then? You just wait on him to bring the check, or the bank didn't give him the money?
Yeah. Well, no, the bank gives him the money. So typically it's well, you can have the account set up. And now, okay, let's say this. Every bank's probably different, right? So this is not like generic advice for everyone out there. But my understanding is you can set accounts up to not have bounce protection, right? So, yeah. So if it doesn't have bounce protection, I think they're probably out of luck. You know, the bank
sounds pretty good to me. You know, I've never had that in this business, but when I was in the fence business, we did get some pretty sizable bills that people do a chargeback, and most of the time they have no good reason for it.
Well, that's it. Yeah. They hit their limit. They
Yeah.
forgot about this other thing they put on the card. They exceeded their limit, and you get in pretty good trouble if you blow past your limit.
Yep.
And so they have another one, or they have something else they're wanting to pay for with the card, and they're out of credit limit. And so then they'll do the chargeback.
Yeah.
Because you're a good guy. Yeah, Joe's a good guy. He'll be fine. I'll explain it. Well, Joe just paid 2.72% for a processing fee. Yeah. Joe's a good guy, but that also makes Joe mad because I don't get that money back.
We don't pay processing fee anymore at all. And I'll share this because most people don't know. We do not pay a penny for processing fee. We worked with the credit card company and said we're no longer going to pay that. So you can make, it's not easy because the credit card companies don't want to promote and do this. But however, if someone swipes a credit card in our company, they have to accept the charge to the processing company of whatever percent that is. The homeowner has to accept that on the transaction. The money never hits our books. Never hits our books because it skews your numbers because you're not making profit on that money. Okay.
No.
So it goes straight to the credit card processing company, 100% straight there. We get paid what we're supposed to be charging. So rather than saying, hey, cash discounts, or we just add it into the cost. The problem with that is you're not adding your margin into that cost. If your margin is a 50% margin, you're not capturing 50% margin. And if you do $20,000 worth of processing fee, you're missing $10,000 in margin. You ran the numbers, so it's going to skew your overall numbers by what your revenue is. So you go to a credit card company, you say, look, I want this credit card processing fee goes straight to you. They're going to say, well, can you just, they're going to argue with you. Because what happens is, and the only way I learned this is I got to know the credit card company. What I learned was they don't want to promote it because they have less credit card transactions, because more people will say, oh, you know what? I'll just write you a check when it comes out of their pocket, okay, when it's additional money to them. And that's what happens. So the credit card company says, we don't really like to promote it because we lose transactions. So for the last year and a half, we have not paid a penny in transactions at all.
Who's your processor? This conversation goes with your processor. Is that correct?
Yep. So, and I know it doesn't work. It also works in Florida, because I have people, we're down in Florida, like, oh, it won't work down here. That's what everybody said. We had that conversation. It's working in Florida. It's working in other states, in Tennessee.
What company are you using?
I don't remember the company that we are currently using, the name of it right now, but I can get it to you.
I love it. I love that. Yeah.
We're not using the same company everywhere. So I'm telling you, it doesn't. I don't think it matters.
Our processing fees are
outrageous, right?
It's just unbelievable.
So and you have a conversation with your credit card company, and if they say no, just go talk to another one.
See, right? This is the sort of things contractors need to get together on, and there needs to be some sort of. All contractors need to have this talk, because they're killing us. I mean, they are literally killing service industry with these fees.
Put it back on the consumer, and oftentimes the consumer's like, "Oh yeah, right." I cannot tell you of one contract that I know of right now that I've lost in a year and a half. Because that's everybody's scared. Well, if I don't do it, then Johnny down the street will do it, and I'll lose the work.
Well, how many people have a checkbook? Just about everybody. You got a checkbook. If you get a bank account, you got a checkbook.
I would, exactly. I would argue with that. It doesn't work. Listen, if you lose that job because of that processing fee, that wasn't your job.
You barely got it to begin with.
Yeah. You didn't
own it. Yeah. They're going to find a way to pay you when they want your service.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
this is my price for the job. And I don't buy, the way we've always done it is you give a cash discount or you just add it into your price. I'm like, I get that, but you're not putting the margin on it. If you are, then you're overcharging them. You're further, you know what I mean? Like you can be more competitive that way.
I think this is even better because you can tell all your customers, hey, we're not adding 3% onto your job because other people do that. So if they did,
and they mark it up, it's going to cost more than 3%. Let's be honest. Like if a customer or if a business really does put it in their costs, okay, then that 3% becomes what?
6%.
Exactly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to cut corners somewhere else to give the homeowner the same value because you're not going to take it out of your profit account, right? So you're going to find something else in that install. It's less money to justify it, and the homeowner loses there.
What's 3% on $5 million? I mean,
it's a lot. Okay, it got to a point where I'm looking at my P&L going, no.
Yeah, you're talking $150,000.
Exactly.
You've got to pay taxes on probably.
That's the other thing. It goes to you're going to pay on that income.
No, you wouldn't pay taxes on it because it would come out as an expense.
It's still going to increase your revenue and not have a margin associated. It's going to skew your numbers for sure.
Right. Yep. Agreed.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. Nobody likes those dang things.
Right.
So a little golden nugget.
Hey, Joe, you said something about audiobooks. Yep. I've always done audiobooks. Got probably 200 on my phone that I've listened to. I started this program called 75 Hard, and part of it you got to read 10 pages a day. I'm 27 day 28, something like that. And I've started reading those 10 pages, 10, 15 pages. And if you read the book in bite-sized chunks, you can process that. You can spend 24 hours processing it. And I didn't get that level of understanding of a book listening to it. So I would encourage you to take 10 minutes a day and just start reading a book. It seems silly and it seemed, I'm too busy for this. But now in my office, I got books everywhere. And nobody looks at me like I'm crazy when I'm sitting here reading. Like if I'm reading this and somebody walks in my office, I'm working. So I would encourage you to pick up a few books and read them.
Now, Caleb, I'm kind of disappointed that book you just picked up wasn't part of your ground school.
Oh, that's alternative. Yeah, that book's a lot fatter.
That's a bigger book. So, Sean, this is a good subject. So, Caleb and I are going for our private pilot's licenses. And what's funny is neither one of us knew we were doing it until Caleb texted me. He's like, hey, guess what? This sounds crazy, but I'm in my pilot's license. I got a discovery flight scheduled Monday. And I replied back, is like, that is crazy because my discovery flight scheduled for Friday.
Yeah, tomorrow. It was tomorrow. You said tomorrow.
That's right. That's right.
But congratulations on two guys executing on something they said they would do.
I like it.
So, Sean, as much as you travel,
Chrome airplane.
I know. I think about all the time you guys are going to put into it. I'm like, I could just pay for the commercial airline to fly me there.
No. So I understand. I don't want to say no.
I got to find storage for it. I got to transport from it. You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I don't know how it's going to save me. I can't fly a plane to Hawaii from here practically.
No. So Hawaii is the outlier. I would still.
If you just make more money, Sean, you could do that.
So the reality of it is, I'm making enough money that I can pay for the airfare. Like, just send it. Like it's in the budget.
So for me to fly from here, so Sean, if I was going to come see you, for me to fly from me to you, I would have to fly from Springfield to Atlanta, then from Atlanta to Evansville, and I'd probably sit in Atlanta for a couple of hours.
True. I give you that 100%. Give you that.
I'd show up to the airport an hour and a half early, usually an hour in Springfield because security doesn't take any time. Flying back, called an hour, so we got 4 hours of purely my butt sitting in an airport.
True story. Yep.
Not to count the time in the airplane, the time loading and unloading the air. That was what did it for me. Was I sat there doing. I was like, how many hours last year did I sit in an airport and have just like completely?
What about the maintenance costs and the plane costs? Where does that come into play?
Yeah,
you can actually join a club and you can pay a couple $100 a month and have access to quite a few planes.
I think that makes sense.
I like that. So there's also leaseback, which you lease the plane back to your FBO. So you're basically the private side of the airport, where people can then rent it, right? So it's the Airbnb of airplanes. That's a great way of putting it. And the way it was explained to me is, depending on the airplane, so this doesn't happen all the time, but if you have a decent plane that people will want to fly, it pays for the ownership cost of the plane that year. So you're into it for your fuel and basically your time, like whatever time, your personal time in the plane. So that's how it was explained to me. Now, it also means that other people are going to fly your plane, right? So you got to be okay with that, but they have to carry insurance on it. So if they screw something up, it's like renting a car. It's on you, right? So that's how it made sense to me.
I don't know if I want to be in a plane up in the air and figure out they had messed something up.
Well, no. You've got annual inspections.
You're inspecting that plane pretty hard when you get in it. Yeah. I just did the math. It's 325 miles straight line from you guys. And if I'm not mistaken, Tony Thornton, if you're listening, correct me because I'm still in the infancy, but nautical miles would be divided by 1.15. So it'd be 282 miles. We should be able to make that flight in 2 hours with a decent plane.
Here, I'll tell you, I've got ForeFlight on my phone. So Evansville to
what do they charge you to take off and land from the airport?
It's free. You can take off and land for free.
What?
General aviation, yeah. You just roll in there, park your plane, and they actually give you a car too. From what I've been told, if in general aviation you roll into an airport and you come in and say, "Hey, we need a car," they'll just give you a car, bring it back in a couple hours. So it's pretty good advantages to it.
Yeah, Springfield to Evansville, it's a 283 nautical miles.
Yeah, I got it.
And this particular, like in a Cherokee 6, which is what we're probably going to end up getting, that's about a 2.5 hour flight. It's going to take 41 gallons, or 41.9, so call it 42 times, call it $4 a gallon. So you'll have a couple $100 in fuel.
So that Cherokee should run like 165 mile an hour though, shouldn't it?
No.
Really? The one I looked at the other day, the guy said he cruised 65.
Cherokee 6 won't. The Cherokee 4
is what this guy said.
Okay.
How many people fit in that?
That's a 4-seater, or that's a 6-seater.
Yeah, well, 5 plus the pilot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so this is a really nice, it's got the cover on it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice plane. But anyways, it's fun, man.
Well,
the
real thing that concerns me is finding time to actually go get the pilot. I guess that's probably what's holding me back. Read the book, take the test, do the flights.
It's a couple hours a day, 3 days a week. So it is 6 hours a week. You got to commit to it.
For how many weeks?
Yeah, well, so that's going to vary depending on how quickly you pick it up. So typically the average is, well, you have to have a minimum of 40 hours. But typically it's 50, 60 hours before you go on your check ride. So
I'm doing 2.5 to 3 hours a day, twice a week.
There you go.
And I'm scheduling it easy and it's fun. So how's your flights? Have you been flying, Joe?
I haven't. So I'm interviewing a different flight school, just for reasons. It's we can talk about that off air, but
yeah, no worries.
So I'm interviewing another flight school. I'm comfortable with the one I was at, but I think it might be more advantageous to me to go through a Part 141 school.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So I've had 3 flights. And
I'm so jealous because you always send me, like, you tell me when you do it. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Float.
So the first flight, I was not comfortable the whole flight.
Look at Roger's comment. God dang it.
Yeah, Sean, I wasn't going to say anything.
We're just going to let that sit there for a minute and stare at the camera.
You guys just want to have a little moment of silence. Yeah, so the second flight, I was comfortable about the time we got to our practice area. And the third flight, once we took off and I turned my downwind, and by the time I went on the base leg, or not the base leg, but I actually did my downwind and got up. I was 1,600 feet. I was comfortable rolling. I felt good. So it was fun.
I put it like this. So on my first flight, I told Caleb, it is terrifying and exciting at exactly the same moment. And if that sounds confusing, it is.
Yeah.
That is all going through your head at exactly the same time because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know where you're going. You don't know what's coming up next. But
think of a 1972 dump truck that's like a 3500 like a 1-ton dump truck from 1972. It's got a 3-speed on the column, and it's got heavy duty log springs on it. You get in it and you're driving this thing and you're clunking around. You're terrified. It's jerking around. It's rough. You're uncomfortable. But then the guy who owns the truck gets in it and he drives it smooth as a Cadillac. It's kind of like that,
They toss you the keys and they're like, "Here you go."
Yeah, at first you get in the plane, you're bumping around a little bit, but then once you figure it out, man, it's fun.
Thanks, Roger. Appreciate that.
I'm telling you, it's freedom, right? So for me, I think for entrepreneurs in general, like I like to be in control of things. Like I want this ship to go where I want this ship to go.
Yeah.
Right. That's the thing. And so I think that's part of what drives me crazy about sitting in an airport. Because perfect example. When we were all at Lincoln, I was flying to catch up with my family on family vacation. So the flight was supposed to leave at like 10 o'clock the next morning on Saturday morning. I get an email notification like the day before. Oh, by the way, flight's rescheduled to 6:30 a.m. Well, that changes my whole thing. Like now it changed my whole plan.
Yeah.
And so then I'm sitting in the airport. And I'm like, this is completely outside my control. I have zero input on when we go, on where we go. Another example is I was flying out to California for some training to San Diego, and you got to go from Springfield to Dallas. You can't go anywhere direct from Springfield. You got to go to Dallas and then Dallas to San Diego. Yeah. Well, we got in a plane. We went, this is an evening flight. We were circling Dallas. We circled Dallas for like 20 minutes. Said, hey, they've got low fog. We can't get in. And then finally they're like, well, guys, we're at the bingo fuel point, so we got to turn back, and we'll give this a try tomorrow. So we got to go back to Springfield, and I got to go back home and explain to my wife, hey, surprise, I know you thought I was going to be gone for a week. I'm actually here for a few hours because this flight it's midnight, and this flight takes off at 6 a.m. You know what I mean? Like it's totally outside my control, and that drives me crazy.
Yeah, so am I the only – so it sounds like I'm not the only guy who once the plane takes off, it turns, he's up to where he needs to be, and then the engines go, and I'm going – I start looking around like, what? Yeah. Everybody else is asleep, and I'm like, what the heck? Why is we just took off? Why are we killing our engines?
Yeah.
And they take off again,
Well, my thing is like I look at my watch, I'm like, we're slow. Like, can we go? Like, I know there's a faster option. Like, let's just go. Like, why are we cruising? I want to go. And I understand it's part of fuel economy. Like there's a whole, like, I get it, but that drives me crazy. I'm sitting in the airplane seat and I'm along for the ride. If this guy wants to take me to Timbuktu, I got to go Timbuktu and I got to be okay with it.
Yeah. But back to your original thing, the little planes we're flying burn about 8 gallons an hour. And you said 2.5 hour flight times 2.5, so 20 gallons times 4. So you could fly from Evansville to Springfield for about $80.
Well, yeah, depends on the plane. So
yeah, it's gonna depend on the plane for sure.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So that's what ForeFlight will do for you is it'll tell you in different, like that Skyhawk 172, that burned 27.4 gallons.
What it?
Yep, but at max RPM lean mixture. But like in that Cherokee 6, it's 41.9 at 75% full lean.
Well, the plane's no good without fuel.
It's got to go. Anyway, this is we're a bit divergent from our original conversation here.
For sure.
But Sean, the end result, Sean, is you need to figure that out. That way, here is the use case that I have in my mind. So, Sean, if you and I are talking about something, and I'm like, Sean, like I want to come visit the team because I need to figure something out. And Sean's like, Sean, you're like, I've got a meeting every Monday where we go over that exact thing. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll tell you what, next Monday, how about I just come over there? And you're like, all right, but the meeting's at 9 a.m. Okay, cool. So I'll take off at 6. I'll be there by 8 so that I'm in your office by 9. It's an hour meeting, 9 to 10. And then you and I chit chat. Maybe we go grab lunch.
Yep.
And then around 1 o'clock, I get back in my plane. I fly for 3 hours and I'm home by 3, 4 o'clock.
Sounds great. I would be, if I was confident in flying, I would probably fly all over the damn place. But
yep, that's the thing.
Roger has sent it, so I'll start researching. Thanks.
Yeah, Sean's going to have a drawing. Somebody, if anybody's a graphic designer on here listening, just go ahead and send Sean a rendering of a chrome plane that sa's Mr. Fence on the side of it.
I've actually had that sent to me. That really has happened already. Yeah, no, it's already, someone's already sent me that.
So funny thing is, so during my first flight, well, actually, so I misspoke. So I had a second flight scheduled. We were on the ground, but there's a storm coming in, and part of learning to be a pilot is establishing your minimum conditions, right? Your no nonsense no goes, and one of those is you don't fly when storms are coming in. It just doesn't make sense. So, but we sat there and we had a good conversation in the plane just about equipment and things like that. So as we're leaving, he's like, "So you've been looking at planes?" I was like, "Yeah, looking for Cherokee 6." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool." I'm like, what's funny is, he said, he goes, "Well, we're building a paint shop right here onto the airport." I was like, "Oh, that's cool." He goes, "Yeah, so you don't have to go find an orange plane. Like, we can make it orange for you." Okay. Message received. I get it.
Yeah.
All right, let's catch up with some comments here, guys. Wait, do you guys have anything else to say on the subject? I guess.
No, sir. I think it's time to move on. Probably need to do a little more about this training class. I'm sure there's probably some questions about it.
Stainman says, "Good morning, guys. Happy birthday, Caleb and Jackson."
Kenny, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Is that Kenny Dugan?
Yeah. And actually, all right, this is a good time to talk about this. So
We got the
during the lives. So Jeremy, my videographer, actually, he's just kind of like the behind the scenes channel guy. Calling him a videographer doesn't go into detail on what actually he does here. But anyway, we're going to start producing a snippet section from the lives, right? So when we talk about something here on the lives that I think we ought to do a snippet, a 5 or 6 minute section, I'm going to hold up a fence sign. So that when Jeremy's editing, he's going to look for that fence sign, and then he's going to just zoom to that. So here's where this idea came from. So Tony Thornton was on 2 weeks ago talking about the state of the industry, right? And so we're snipping that into like 7 or 8 different videos that will come on Wednesdays. So in addition to the normally scheduled content. Well, so I told Jeremy, I was like, that's an interesting idea. We need to just keep doing that because we talk about a lot of good stuff here on the lives that would make good independent content.
Yeah, those 3-minute clips for the guy who needs that nugget, but he doesn't have an hour to listen to find
2 hours. Listen to us talk about airplanes.
Yeah. Right. That's right. So when we were talking about finance, that would have been a great time to do it. So here's the plan. Everyone watching, and really, I think we all know I'm talking to Roger because Roger's the guy that keeps this channel going.
He runs the ship.
He does too. So
he runs this ship.
So when I think we talk about something that we ought to snip, that ought to make an independent 3 to 4 minute clip, I'm going to hold up the sign. And here's the other thing. People send me signs. Well, actually, Keen didn't send me the sign. I got the sign in the training in Nashville.
Your editor's going nuts right about now.
I'm going to warn him. Yeah. I'm be like, hey, I explained this for a while, so I held up a bunch of signs. Just know that.
Yeah.
Also, see, this is what I didn't use this one just because it's chrome and it plays
good
lights. But we got Mr. Fence sign. We got Walt's fin staining. We got an Aegis. We got fence armor. This is a good one, relevant to your recent trip.
Boom! My boy Chris.
We got Vinyl Tech.
Fence King, Dan.
And I see him in the comments, so I know he's here. Actually, I'm sure several of you guys are here. Jackson Fence, Mr. Cannon.
He's got the cool signs.
So each week I'm going to rotate signs, right? Just to keep it interesting for you guys and all that.
I like it. Good idea.
But if we're on a subject and you guys think, like, if I don't catch it, if I don't hold up the sign real quick and then put it down, you guys let me know in the comments below. And like I said, when I say you guys, I do mean Roger, basically. So Roger keeps us in line and he keeps us going. But so anyway, that's the plan. And so then we can snip this into, like, if you guys, those of you that watch YouTube a lot, you see these channels that are like shorts channel, right? So they take a 3-hour thing and they snip it into a ton of 5 or 6 minute clips. It's exactly what we're doing. A highlight reel of the live is the way Jeremy put it, and I like that a lot. All right. Well, so I told James I thought that they were rainy there in Central Florida. Nope. It is hot and cloudy. Good to know. Landmark Creations, welcome. Good morning from Tacoma, Washington. Thank you guys for bringing knowledge on this Saturday morning. Very welcome. I don't understand this one, but I'm going to put it up. Is there a stain and seal for metal fences or anything that serves a similar purpose for metal instead of wood?
That would be paint. Yeah, they make a lot of different kind of paints for fencing, and the one that I never did, but I've had some call for it is the electromagnetic painting.
Electrostatic.
Electrostatic. Yeah, it was a big investment for something we'd use once a year, so never went with it. But
yeah that's what Ameristar uses. That's on their coating is electrostatic. It's a crazy process.
They make rigs that you can go hook up to an old fence out in the field and you can paint it.
Oh, no kidding. Like an on-site electrostatic.
Mobile electrostatic painting is what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, that's even cooler.
About 10 grand for a little small setup.
That's spendy. Tony Thornton, good morning. Roger said, interesting, Sean. With the mistakes also comes true refinement as opposed to the potential mistake we planned for. So that's
done is better than perfect. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how we learn. Fail forward, fail fast, fail often.
That's right. So here's an interesting concept too that we're learning during ground school is you plan for the failure, right? You just plan for it. So the way it was explained is when you're sitting on the ground, you're getting ready to take off. You say, okay, well, right before I take off, the engines are going to fail. And when they do, this is what we're going to do. And then if for some sort of stroke of luck, we make it off the ground, right, at 300 feet, the engines are going to fail. And this is what we're going to do. And then if some stroke of luck happens and we make it up to 2,000, the engines are going to fail. And this is what we're going to do. And you plan for the failures. So it's kind of an interesting thought. And it's something that we're going to implement is, during the morning meetings, this is going to happen. We're going to get there and it's going to be bigger than we thought. So this is what we're going to do. And then if for some reason we get there and everything's perfect, then the water's not going to work. And when the water doesn't work, this is what we're going to do. And then, you know what I mean? Just build in these what ifs, these contingencies. The idea is so that when you see them, it's not like a freak out moment. It's not, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? It's okay, well, we planned for this. This is exactly what we said was going to happen. And here's the plan for it. Craig says, I used galvanized paint on our metal fence 6 years ago, and it still looks good. Yeah, they sell Rust-Oleum sell. Well, I'm sure other brands do. They sell cold galvanizing compounds. Mm-hmm. Not as good as hot galv, as actually dipping it in hot galvanization, but cold galv spray in a pinch if it's on site works well. Dave Robo, hello, sir. He's waving the black flag while giving us knuckles. Okay. Landmark says most fence guys are great fence builders, but not every fence builder is a good businessman.
True.
Absolutely true. That's the reason why the average life cycle of a new company is 3 to 5 years.
That's every industry, I believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah, overall. But we see that in the fence industry as well.
I think it's understanding the difference between an owner-operator and entrepreneurial spirit business are two totally different things. And we get them all intertangled and mixed together. And you're talking about getting advice from an entrepreneurial spirit guy and you're an owner-operator guy. And they're totally different animals, okay? Why you're in business is totally different. And they're need to be treated that way, right? So you shouldn't be giving advice to an owner-operator. That should be given to an entrepreneur spirit-based business, right? So I think that's the biggest mistake guys have is that they're owner-operator and they're in the field and they're building fence, and that's cool. Like that's where our artist comes from. That's where our really talented fence installation guys come from. That's where the really cool shit gets done. Yep. But that's not going to be the guy that runs the company with 10 crews.
Right.
That's different, and one's not better than the other. They're just different, guys. They're not. We need the fence artist. And we need the Reuben, Borgs. Yeah. We need both of those guys, right? Yep. But we get in these chat groups and they're saying, well, I'm better than you. Let me see you do it. Like, you're a fence ninja and you're a craftsman and you're building some badass fence on the scale of 1.
Right.
Make that a scale of 20. That's a different animal.
Well, that's so E-Myth and E-Myth Revisited talk about this exact thing, right? It talks about the craftsman versus the business owner or the business manager. And in the book, it talks about a bakery, but the analogy is about fencing too. To your point, Sean, that you've got craftsmen that are incredible fence builders.
Right.
Like they belong in the field because they do beautiful work.
Yep.
They make our industry better by providing incredible looking fences.
Right.
But in that case, then that person needs to hire a business manager to run the business office, because that person, their talent is wasted in the office because their talent is building beautiful fences.
Right.
But you also have other guys, like example for me, like I can build a fence. I did it for years. Did I enjoy it? No. Was it, purely custom, beautiful craft? Probably not, if we're being fair.
Right.
But when I got in the office, I found the part of our company that I loved. I enjoy running a business and enjoy seeing that business flourish. So I hire craftsmen, right? Because the craftsmen have no interest in making sure, reviewing the balance sheet and making sure the marketing's on point and doing all this. The idea is figure out in your business what you're a rock star at, and then find more rock stars to run the other parts of your business. Right. So E-Myth Revisited is another great book. What is up, Nick? So I'm not as familiar with European turns of phrase. So he says, hi, Joe. Enjoyed your, I'm going to guess this is teat or tate with D&J projects in the UK. So last week's live was David and Stevie there with D&J projects in the UK. I enjoyed that as much as everyone else did. It's 6 p.m. Well, it was 6 p.m. in Southwest UK. I think they're 6 hours ahead. So, well, it must be 7 hours. So it's 6:30 p.m. in Southwest UK. Yep. And then Tony weighed in. More fence folks becoming pilots. Life changer. Right.
Pressure's on Sean.
What is up, Cannon? Hello. We already did that one. Sean King just made Cannon's day. There
You're welcome, my man.
Cannon says, Caleb been pushing your guys, Steve Estep, some stains this morning. Okay, yeah. Oh, your guy, Steven Estep, some stain jobs this morning.
Easy Stain, the best stain company in Memphis.
Steven's incredible. He really is.
Yeah.
I don't know the details. I just say, man, it's an awesome product he uses. Agreed. And Steven's a really good guy. And then Steven weighs in. Well, thank you very much, Cannon. I'm blushing. Kasurik says, hey, guys, just joining all the way from Philly. What is up, Kasurik? Tony Thornton signing off. Tony, if you're still here, appreciate you tuning in. Everyone have a great weekend. Roger says, I want to hear a lot more about this pass by topic from Sean, perhaps a successful contractor channel. I want to hear a lot more about this pass by topic.
Like things pass by you and not through you, right?
Yeah.
A golden nugget on that.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I think that relates to delegation, right? So Caleb brought that up, and then you talked about the pass by, but I think that's the correlation between those two comments is that, you delegate this to, your captains, right? But maybe you have a weekly catch up with them, say what happened last week, what's coming this week, what needs to be in front of my face so we can talk about real quick. But to your point, John, it doesn't need to come through you, because then when you're not there, then everything grinds to a halt.
That's right.
Wallace says, profit first. Any highlight nuggets you guys pick up from reading this book? So it's the separating the accounts for me. Have you guys read profit?
Yeah, pick up the book and read it. That's what I
do it.
Yeah.
It's not impossible.
Al says, we plan for success and prepare for plan B. That's absolutely right.
There is no plan B.
It's going to come off my tongue.
We're going to make plan A work, baby.
You're going to send it. Plan A all the way or no way. It's plan A, baby.
Al's more of an engineer type. So
I love you, Al. I'll just bust your chops. There was a video recently with Andy. I sent it on one of my channels, but it had some choice words about Plan B. We're gonna send Plan A all the way. And, a high D person on disc is only thinking Plan A only.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
we're gonna make it happen.
I loved it when Matt Werner talking about his team and all the different personality types, and he said they're all skydiving and they all jump out of the airplane, and when he gets in the air, he realizes I don't have a parachute. And he says, but don't worry, Rachel has 2 parachutes, so give me one.
Give one to me. I love it. I love you, Al.
Well, I tell you, so in Nashville, Matt got up and talked for a while, and one of the key takeaways there is you got to burn your ships.
Yeah.
Right. You if you give yourself an out, you won't fully commit. If you give yourself a plan B, you won't fully commit to plan A.
It's true, but I would say this to give Al some credit. We need, like, I do plan, I do budget, we do plan, we make plans, right? Think them all the way through. So I'm not saying just go willy-nilly and go at it. Like, have a plan, right?
Yeah.
And execute the plan, but work through it. Don't be like, it's okay, I got a plan B. And then I got a plan C, I got a plan D.
Yeah.
And be that person. Like, keep going and drive.
Absolutely. Heritage Fence. Happy Saturday coming from Eastern Pennsylvania. We'll send a fence sign this week. Sounds good, Heritage Fence. Cannon wants to know, anybody have experience with radio ads?
So I don't run radio ads or TV ads at all. However, my competition did one time. And it was so hilarious because they were upset with my big monster trucks and all the advertising I do that way. They ran an ad and literally said, buy fence from XYZ and not Mr. Fence because you're only going to be buying new big tires for the big trucks. Our phone rang off the hook. People are like, I heard your radio ad. I'm like, we don't have a radio ad. All they heard was Mr. Fence big trucks. It backfired on that company.
Wow.
But it was hilarious. It really was. But at the end of the day, we have more people call our office and they literally say, are you guys the ones with the big trucks? Yes. Okay, great. I need a price for a fence. Like, it has anything to do with fence at all. Yeah. Just find something to be different and market that. But I really don't have much experience with radio to tell you how effective it is. I just haven't done it.
Yeah, I've talked to some people that have done conservative radio ads that they were telling me about. They did conservative radio for 20 years or something. It's really good to them, but I've never done it in the fence business or in the stain business. And I've always kind of wanted to, but I felt like I'd just be throwing it out the window.
No, I don't know about it. It depends how you do it, right? If you do anything, you have to build your ad intentionally for the platform. Yeah. Right. So an Instagram ad put on Facebook probably won't work. This is my problem with people that say, I tried Facebook advertising and it doesn't work.
This is a long-term play.
Yeah. And did you do it? Did you do it correctly?
Well, I would say it's like, I don't know, more marketing than I think.
So here's
the name out there.
We spend about $70,000 a year on radio. And here's how it works for us is we do storytelling, right? It's purely branding. It is not a make the phone ring tomorrow. It's keep yourself top of mind so that when people need a fence 2 weeks from now, they think about it, right? Yeah. So some examples are, and like I said, it's purely storytelling, but telling stories people can relate to. So when I was a kid and my granddad had this business, he had this refrigerator in the back room. So the way it worked is you had to walk through the house. The house was the office. So we bought a commercial property that had a house on it. We turned the house into the office. You had to walk through the house, out the back, and then you were into the yard. So, but my dad or my granddad kept a refrigerator. It was one of those cool open top refrigerators. And I have no idea how that voodoo magic worked, but it did. But they kept cold Cokes and Sprite in that. Now, think about it. This was 20 plus years ago. When Coke was in glass bottles. So the story goes, when I was a kid, one thing I remembered is after a hard day's work, the guys would come in and they'd sit around the dining room table sharing a cold Coke in the glass bottles. And I don't know what it is about those glass bottles, but it was colder and it tastes better than Coke does today. Mm-hmm. Anyway, just one of those things I remember, and I forget how we tied it in, but basically that, we've been protecting the Ozarks, or protecting your piece of the Ozarks since 1955. Ozark Fence is the first family of fence in Southwest Missouri. We'd like to share a Coke with you. And that ad ran a year and a half ago, and we still have people that are like, you know what? remember when you were talking about Coke in glass bottles? It did taste better. And I don't know what it is, but it was better in glass bottles. I had a salesman stop by and bring a 6-pack of glass Coke bottles. And you know what? He and I sat down for about half an hour and talked about whatever it is he wanted to talk about. So that salesman was smart too. But so
good icebreaker.
If you run it will, and it grabbed my attention.
So you said you're spending about $70,000 a year, 70,000.
Yeah, it's 68 and change. Yeah, it's a little bit under.
And so that's coming on the radio pretty frequently. Is that one channel?
Yeah, three times a day on 2 channels.
Nice.
Where I go back and forth because we've been talking about adding a 3rd channel, but it's also figuring out what the demographic in your area listens to. Mm-hmm. For us, it's classic rock and country. Yep. Works really well. The 3rd channel is more of a pop channel, and so yeah, we go back and forth on that. But for us, country and classic rock are kind of our 2 main channels. And like I say, we just tell stories. So the fun stories we tell now are the way we make it fun and memorable for people. So my sister Sarah is our client experience officer. So the running gag on every radio station, on every radio commercial, is she ends it with, "You just call and ask for me, Sarah. I'm the CEO." And every time it's like, and I pitch in like, that's not what that means. And
I like it.
And about twice a year, we replay the ad where it's Sarah saying, "Hey guys, Sarah with Ozark Fence, and I'm the new CEO." And I'm like, whoa, Sarah, listen. When I said client experience officer, I was spelling experience with an X. You're the CXO. Like, no, spell it out. And it's a 60-second ad of her and I arguing on whether she's a CEO or the CXO. And that works too, because people are like, "Oh, Sarah, like CEO, huh?" And it's a funny way. Now, what does that have to do with selling fence?
It doesn't need to. It's unique, it's different, and it's going to get their attention. Just like big monster trucks don't mean crap for selling fence.
Yep.
I think you're on the right track.
What can I do to live rent-free in the back of someone's mind?
Yeah.
What can I do?
Blue, orange. I mean, that's another thing. I'm living rent-free in the back. When they see blue in my town, they think in Mr. Fence.
So that's a funny conversation too. And I think I've told it on here before. I was at the welding supply store getting gas for the fabrication shop one day, and this guy pulls up in an orange truck, not one of ours. And he walks up and he goes, "Hey, could I get some cards?" Like, yeah. Gave him some cards. I was like, "You thinking about a fence?" And he's like, "No, actually. But every time I stop at a gas station, people come up and ask me for business cards, and I'm tired of it. So if you give me some business cards, I'll hand them out for you."
I love it.
I got all the business cards for you right now.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
But you're right, Sean, that color branding is huge, right? Or whatever you can do to be memorable.
Yeah.
And
find a way to be different. Unique.
Right. Oh, this is a good one too. Wallace has a good point. The pumpkin plan is another good leadership breed. Absolutely. So
that one.
That's a good one. So same on the riders there. Steven says it's a family thing, not a me deal. I'm not that good. I just have a bad to the bone family.
Yeah. Nice job, Steven.
Yeah. So it's well, and Steven's lucky enough that in his family, in his tribe, he's got rock stars at different areas. Right. So really that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to put rock stars in the right places.
For sure.
Well, everybody has a talent of some sort, right? You just got to figure out what it is. So every family member, every friend, every coworker, every team member, they all have a God-given talent of some sort. We got to figure out what that is and put them in the right spot. Quit trying to put the round peg in the square hole and the square peg in the round hole, because this is what's convenient. Figure it out. Take the time. Figure it out. It's hard. I'm struggling all the time to figure it out. It's a nonstop. Even when I think I got it figured out, well, didn't quite have that one pegged.
Yeah.
Right again.
So that's the thing. And let's talk about that. A lot of people don't know what their thing is.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you sit down, you're like, what are you really good at? You're like, well, you sit this baseball team down. You're like, okay, what are you really good at? And this guy might be like, I'm really good at playing second base. Maybe because he's always ever played second base. Like that's just the position he plays.
Right.
Well, if you had team tryouts, you might realize this guy is a rock star catcher.
That's
like
right.
he is wasted at second base, but even he doesn't know it.
Right.
right? So what can we do? And this is one of the things that we're talking about internally here. What can we do to have team tryouts? What does a team tryout look like at a fence company?
Like that.
I don't know. The answer is I don't know. Right. This is one again.
Well, you do
I've got the idea and I've got the.
But it goes back to we all need to do more cross training in our company, right? So when we do the training out in the field, we bring the girls from the office. When we're digging holes and talking about how to nail up pickets, the girls from the office are there. Why?
Yeah.
Well, they're talking to our customers and they understand the process and procedure that we're going through to build the fence. And maybe not we're ever going to need them to go nail pickets, right? But cross training has some advantages.
Yeah.
I think cross training across even shop the team to guys in the field makes sense. Our maintenance guy cross trains.
Yeah. Well, Sarah runs our residential division. She came up to Lincoln and she was building chain link fence with us.
Yeah.
Why? She'll never need to build a chain link fence. Like that's not her skill.
Yeah.
But it does make her better in the sales field.
In communicating, understanding.
In communicating. Yep. But she's going to look at a slope and go, oh, I do remember what that was like. I need to build in extra time. I need to make sure I've got the correct amount of terminals to climb this hill. And just, it's going to give her that experience. And when she's communicating with the client, then she goes, you see that hill? That is not just a hill. Let me tell you about this time I was in Lincoln and I built a fence up a hill like that. It's tough.
It's going to start a great conversation and connection between her and a customer. It's a bonus. That's a twofer.
Yeah. So it's cross training. And that's like I said, that's what we're trying to figure out is what do tryouts look like at a fence company? Like if we can figure that out and figure out that maybe the guy that works in our lot that loads, unloads trucks, supply trucks and crew trucks, maybe he's wasted at that. Maybe he does that because he's always ever done it and he's decent at it. But maybe he's our stain guy, because he's a rock star at stain and no one would have known it if we hadn't had tryouts. I don't know. But
the other thing I would follow up with that, and I'm kind of working through this process right now, is sometimes you may not be better off. How do I say this? So sometimes we, as a whole, for the whole company, you're probably not better off to put the guy in his best position. In other words, if Joe, you're really good at it being, you're best at being a catcher. Okay. Yeah. But we're really weak at a pitcher, and you're the best person as a pitcher, but you are better at something else. So what happens is some of your team members are like, well, I'm the best guy you got running pickets and you got me setting posts. Yeah, because you're leap years ahead of everybody else setting posts. Okay. Yeah. So think about it this way. And I got a hard time. I push from the rear. We want to lead from the rear. We want to push from the rear. Work on your weakest link. Right. So I constantly tell my team all the time, you're like, well, I'm the best person you got at vinyl fence. Right. But guess who, Johnny, right behind you? He's really good at vinyl fence. He's right there behind you, but he really is bad at wood fence. So I'm going to put you on wood fence right now because that's our weakest link because you're really good at wood fence too. Yeah. Right. So rather than lead from the front and put everybody all in their best position, and sometimes you have a really weak link in the back. Yeah. And so we push from the back. Your weakest link is what? I mean, that's it. The weakest link is as strong as you are is the weakest link. So we focus on the weakest links or pushing from the back. It's just a different mindset I'm working through right now. How does that look? Are we better off trying to move people back into the better positions and push the guys in the back forward? What does that look like?
Yeah. Well, so Ron Musgraves told me a little story about that. It's the same, but it's different, but the same. We're talking about bonuses and giving individuals bonuses versus giving entire teams bonuses. And he said, what happens, you put the best, if you put a bonus on whoever gets it done the best or the fastest or whatever, you get the one guy who always gets it. And he's light years ahead of everybody else. So instead of working to his 100%, he's at 80% and he's still crushing everybody.
And still getting bonuses.
Yeah. And he said, so you wind up getting a lot of prima donnas. You wind up getting this and that. Yeah. And he said, if you just give a whole team bonus, say, hey, when this project gets done and when you hit these goals, the whole truck's going to get a $1,500 bonus or whatever. He said, what happened was instead of one guy shining out and all the other guys giving up because Roger's freaking twice as fast as us, we're never going to beat him. The guys high up started reaching down. Hey, I want my bonus. We're going to help you get better. And then the lower guys started reaching up, and it just brought the whole crew up.
We do a very similar bonus program, and it's based off your expected results. So your abilities, it's the Gold Star program, and they're worth a minimal amount of money. But just because you put in more fence than anybody else does not give you the gold star. You get the gold star when you put in more than you've ever done, Caleb. Like you exceeded your expected results. Like today, Caleb start and finish the job completely by himself. Gold star, right? Because that was more than you've done in the past. So you get those gold stars based on your performance, not a comparison to anybody else. They could be a rock star, but you start awarding the people that are like he's saying, not giving the guy that wins all the time puts in the most fence. We're not growing the company.
Well, it's like when you're exercising or whatever. It's like I'm not going to power clean and snatch 400 pounds over my head, but if I get this number, that's my best, and I'm
we're looking better than you did last time, and that bonus that's not a participation trophy. That is incentivizing the person to be better tomorrow.
I like that. One thing we had talked about incentives, and it's just when you guys were talking, this cautionary tale came to mind. So we had a guy come through that had worked at one of our competitors, a large competitor. And the reason he left is he was frustrated. I was like, okay, well, why? Like, I understand that I don't know anybody over there. This story isn't going to get back to anybody there, but what's going on? Like, why are you frustrated? He's like, here's the thing. Sales team is incentivized on sales, on a top line revenue number. Production team is incentivized on production. How many feet they can get built in a month is how their incentives are based. So what no one seems to keep track of is the sales team is just making revenue numbers. Like that is what they are incentivized. Get this top number. Now, it doesn't matter if the job's a mess. It doesn't matter if you actually ended up underselling it for what it should have been. They're looking, hey, if I need to make $100,000 this month, what do I got to do to sell $100,000? If this job should have been $5,500, but if I know I can sell it, if it's a sure thing at $4,800, I sell it at $4,800 because this gets me closer to that $100,000 goal.
Yeah.
Same thing with production. They're incentivized to build fence, and there's no penalty for callbacks. So they're just cranking out fence. They're just throwing this fence up as fast as it can. He said, so this guy, well, I don't want to get too far into it because if anyone's from here, they'll know who anyway. So like the thing is, the frustrating part is no one sees like how much of a cluster this is. Like no one sees that this train is almost off the rails because sales is not in tune with production and no one's watching. No one's keeping track of what actually matters. It's not that we need to sell a bunch of fence. We need to sell it correctly. Right. And it's not that we just need to throw up a bunch of fence. We need to throw it correctly. Yeah. We need to minimize callbacks. So if we could build 1,000 foot of fence a week, but it leads to 2 days of callbacks. Well, that's not, or we could build 700 feet of fence a week with no callbacks. A 700 foot actually ends up making you more money.
Yeah. Callback story.
Because one, the callback costs you money, right? Just that's a given. But two, like, let's talk about the reputation you get as the company that throws up fence. And so now everyone's going to watch you, right? Like, hey, you got to watch them. They're going to throw up this fence really quickly, but they're going to have to come back and fix something.
They're going to find something too.
That's the other thing. Once a customer finds one thing, they will not stop.
Yeah. I tell my guys that. I said, you got to leave this job around 97, 98%. I mean, you don't have to get 100 on all of them, but if they see one thing, they're going to start. How many times they call you about one little thing, and then when you get there, they've got 7 things.
Yeah.
While you're here, I got to.
I wasn't going to say anything, but
there's blue tape all over the fence.
Yep. Since you're here, I got a laundry list for you.
Yeah.
And that 5 minutes turned into 2 hours.
That's when you got to send out your high S or C personality to go out there and defuse it, take care of it.
Yep.
You send Sean out there, he's going to rebuild the whole fence.
Oh, anyway, that was a long conversation, but I think it was a good one. Al says, if your project needs wood and you can't find it, vinyl might be your new choice, but the job gets done. You're all right. We always move to succeed. Like Zig says, we're born to win. Great show, gentlemen. Thank you, Al. I think that's a plan A versus plan B type comment, right?
That's right.
You plan for build wood, but if you can't find wood, put up some vinyl.
I think our personality type, we've always got a plan B. We just don't even think about it. We just, If plan
Right.
A doesn't work, plan B becomes plan A somehow.
We're just forcing plan A. So,
I knew that was going to happen. We took a hard left turn, but I was planning on it the whole time.
Yeah. Exactly
yesterday
as I thought.
we built our first Hawaii fence yesterday, and so this is a great example of plan A to plan B. I think it's a good example. So we saw a lot of this privacy white vinyl fence, and this year we sold more than any time than ever. Right? We can't get it, so it's hard to get. So our sales team continues selling it at amazing numbers. And it was 2 weeks ago on a Wednesday meeting. They're like, "Hey, we got this much sold. We're looking at what's coming in on truckloads. Like, we are in a deficit that's huge. However, we got a bunch of Arrowwood and Juniper, picket top, semi-privacy fence guys. Go sell that." And they tried, and no one wouldn't sell. So I'm sitting in the middle, like, we got to come up with a solution. I took the Arrow fence, took the plastic, or took the lattice out of it, and we put 2 horizontal rails of 1.5 by 5.5 that we've got tons of. I bought tons of it. I've thousands and thousands of these rails that we can't sell for ranch rail. Nobody wants it. We put it on top of the semi-privacy panel. We just did our first install yesterday. This stuff is taking off like crazy. So we took adversity, turned it into opportunity. Yeah, I guess it was kind of a plan B. Like, we need to install fence right now. We can't get it. We have posts. We have this stuff that nobody wants. Put the two together. Now we got people calling saying, "I want that Hawaii fence. That's really cool." It was only built because that's the stuff I have on a lot. Plan B. Put them together. How do we make this work? And it actually turned into something even better. Now people are asking for plan B.
Yeah, it makes sense. I got a bunch of maybe 6 or 8 pallets of vinyl that's mixed match stuff. And I got a bunch of notchers, air powered notchers and stuff. Make you a sweet deal to come get it out of my way.
On the way. Yes. I'm ready to go. We buy truckloads of leftover vinyl from people all the time.
I'll send you some pictures. It's tan and white. It's
my team members are like, "What's wrong with you?" But we'll make pergolas and custom 2-tone fences, and I'll take all these pieces and put them together.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool thing about having a shop.
It's all virgin vinyl. We used to have a vinyl company where we routed and sold vinyl. So I got a bunch that.
Okay.
It's no longer a company, so I need to get it out. It's taking up room.
Send it.
It belongs to my dad, and he leaves it over here at my shop, and I'm ready to get his stuff out
in your way.
So I'm going to sell my dad's stuff really cheap. So if better come get it out of here. Mr. Fence is going to have it.
Mr. Fence is already on his way. I've already dispatched the truck.
Yeah, I think there's a helicopter, a Huey flying in right now.
We need to start a fencers book club is the question. That's kind of an interesting thought.
I'd like to know what books Kenny's reading.
Agreed.
That's what I'm interested in.
Well, it's some high level chemistry. I can almost bet.
Rocket science.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, you go to Kenny's house and he's working on a small rocket, and
yeah. And when you ask him about it, you're like, "You're building a rocket?" He's like, "Oh, this thing? Oh, that's just what I do when I'm bored."
Yeah.
It just looks and acts like a rocket. It does everything a rocket does, but I don't know if I call it a rocket.
Awesome. I just got a delivery. My Garmin GPS watch is here, so
nice.
Delivered right to me.
Look at that. That's service. That is service. Stephen Eastep says, "Okay, with all the wisdom here, when do you guys believe is the right time to hire?" Everyone I talk to about it, 90% say stay small as long as you can. What's your guys' opinion? So
can I go first on that one?
Absolutely, 100%.
I think when people tell you to stay small, it's because they've stayed small and they're afraid. They want to put their fears on top of you. I think every person I've ever hired, especially the last couple, I can't afford this person. Because I'm paying people. We're paying people now, and it's the best thing I've ever done. Every time I do one, because you're paying people to do a job, and you're paying them a great price. And they start executing for you. They start knocking stuff out of the park. When we're doing our day off training or whatever, and everybody's in the house, in the shop here in the office, and a semi truck honks the horn out. He's got 15 people get up and run out the door. They're fighting over who gets to unload it. And we got people that are checking emails on the weekends. I mean, it's like our team's doing this now. And they're all taking ownership. So I think if you can keep culture a priority, pay them well, hire people, do it. If you want to grow, if you don't want to scale, then don't do it. But if you want to scale, you got to have people.
Agreed.
Sean, what do you think?
Sean, what do you think?
So I say, don't pass up the opportunity. Right. So I get people message me all the time. Hey, are you hiring? Absolutely. Do we need? I'm actually, full disclosure, we have more people than we need in our team right now. We are completely heavy. Every one of our teams has an extra guy in the field. We got an extra person in the office. Our shop has 2 extra people. Like, we're blessed that we have more team members than we've ever had. We have more than we need. And I think that's because the culture is attracted to other people. But I haven't said no, because if somebody comes to me and it's an opportunity, like it's a great fit,
Yeah.
I'm not going to pass that up. We're going to find a spot to get through it because we're going to need them to grow. But if you're just hiring people to put bodies in there, I'm not a proponent of just hiring to put bodies. But if somebody comes to you that fits your culture and fits well, like, don't lose that opportunity, because it may not be there next month or next year when you need them.
Yeah. I think that's a good mentality, Sean, is because when you hire someone because you need a body, you're willing to sacrifice.
Yeah.
Right. You make concessions. You're like, well, he was a bit abrasive and he didn't really fit the job description that well, but he says he'll show up on time almost every day, so he wins.
Yeah.
That everyone things is then it shows the team that you have that's the standard all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
So if you've got the A team out there on the line, out there on the job, and then you start filling their team with B players and C players, A players don't want that. Like, that is not what we're about. I'm not going to try to pick up this guy's slack. I'm here to do work. Right. Yeah. So I think even the way I try to think about it is, from Sean, to your point, like, even if you need somebody, come at it with the mentality, like, I don't really need them, but can they persuade me to hire them? Right. Are they an A+ at this? Or are they A+ at that? Like, is there a compelling reason to hire them? If so, bring them on in. But if they're like, I don't know,
we'll find a spot. We'll find a spot to put them on the team if they're a great team member.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, notice I'm not saying, hey, I got 15 years of fence experience, will you hire me? No.
Yeah.
No, that's not what we're looking for. I'm not, it's cool if it's great. I mean, it could be a benefit. However, we're going to start with the conversation. Do you fit our team and culture? One, attitude, reliability. That's key.
That's the thing is, and I don't know where I heard this, and it might have been here probably. But like, I can teach someone to build fence
all day.
I cannot teach someone to be a good person
all day.
Like, you can't train that.
One other thing I think is important. I don't know what your experience is for you guys, but everyone that we've hired has come from employment. We're not hiring people that aren't working. Everyone have had jobs in a lot of
had a job. I like it.
Have had jobs that I thought. We've had some people that took pretty good pay cuts to come here, and of course they're back up now. But they were like, "Hey, look, one guy, he was taking $150 a day pay cut to come to work for us, and he did it. And now he's a sales guy and he's crushing it." Yeah. Another thing is when you got those A players, you get people who are driving the ball forward. The other day, one of our crews, we had a guy that he didn't black out, but he just got overheated. He had to come in. Before I even knew what was going on, I had 2 sales guys in my office who jumped in a truck. They went and stained a fence, and they're not even stainers. They just went and handled it. But just the team, it just did it, and it's beautiful when you have that kind of culture where we're all going to the top. And so I think you hire people that are already working, hire people that are winners. Don't say, well, this guy's a crackhead, but I can get him for $90 a day.
Exactly. This guy will come to work for $11 an hour or whatever it is.
Get the people that you don't think you can afford, and you got to use discernment with it, because there's some people that you can't afford them no matter what they cost, whether it's $11 an hour or $111 an hour. But get people that are going to take care of you. And most of those people are already working.
Yeah, and so to bring this back around to scaling, I think the first time that you think about scaling is when you should start planning on it.
Yeah.
At that first moment, we're like, you know what? I wonder, like, should we grow a bit? That's exactly when you start planning for it. Right. Now, if it terrifies you, then that's probably not for you. Right. But the minute you start to wonder, like the minute that thought enters your mind, Stephen, the fact that you're asking this question, you should start planning for it. Right. And know that you don't want to do it tomorrow. But if you plan for it today and you know that's the goal, the next time someone walks through your door or you bump into them at a hardware store or whatever, and they say, hey, are you guys hiring? Like, you know what? That is actually part of the plan. We do need someone with your skill set, or you start asking, hey, who do I know that is rock star at operations? Because I need an operator, or I need somebody to run the operations. The minute you start planning for it, you know who you're going to need to put in what spot so that when they come across your path, it's time to bring them on.
Well, and you also have to understand and accept that there's going to be days that you don't make money with your people. There's going to be times you're not running billable hours.
It's an investment.
Accept that.
Yeah.
Is an investment.
Yeah. Your overhead's going to outweigh your income.
Yeah, right. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then there's going to be what days you do very well. So, that's the way it goes. But I'm not going to give direct advice, but I'm going to say something. If I could go back and I was an owner operator and I was hiring my first people, I would know that I'm going to have downtime. I'm going to have rainy days. So I would just address it up front and say, hey, instead of sending you guys home on rainy days or whatever, you're going to work, but you're going to go hit neighborhoods. You're going to cold call. You're going to knock on doors. You're going to make phone calls to previous customers and ask how things were doing. And that would propel you forward much faster than just sending them home. Even though it costs more money, It's going to make you money. So, hey, part of your job description is staining fences. It's cleaning fences. It's also putting brochures and door hangers out. And it's also calling all your past customers. It's writing thank you letters. I got some laying around here. And if you just make a list of those things, you'll find things to do in that time. And you're going to build a customer service minded team rather than, oh, we don't have anything to do. I'm just going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
That's what I would do if I were to go back to that point and start over.
I like it. Al Martin, you have a great day too. Cheers. Roger says, book club sounds good. Book club written by you guys sounds better. The problem with that idea, Roger, is getting us to sit down and try to write something. Like, to me, that feels inefficient.
Roger should write it and just write everything that we talk about. And together we might get a book that's halfway decent.
Ghostwriter. I like it.
Go ahead,
All right,
Roger.
guys. So we've got roughly a half hour left, and I have a hard out at 12:30. So we've got 26 minutes. So today is Jackson, my son's 4th birthday, and we're going to the zoo. Actually,
yes.
they're already going to be headed to the zoo. It takes them about half an hour to get there. So I told them at like 12:30, I'm leaving. I'm going to come meet you at the zoo. So I want to make sure we watch this video, and then we'll kind of do a wrap up on it. So let's watch Joe the Fence Guy try to do YouTube. Okay. Add to stream. There we go. All right. Here we go.
Fence fam, Joe Everest, your fence expert. Here in the Midwest, we're just wrapping up tornado season. Unfortunately, in the South, they're still dealing with hurricane season, but it got me thinking. If you're dealing with high straight line winds, can you use fence as cover from whatever the wind's blowing? The assumption is no, but you know what they say about assuming? Not a good idea. We also happen to have a 45-foot boom lift on site, so we thought, why not drop heavy stuff into fence panels? Now, YouTube safety squad, before we even get started, I've got safety gloves on so I don't get a splinter. I've got safety glasses on, so if a splinter were to fly 45 feet in the air, my eyes are still covered. I got my hard hat on that we got from Fence Installation School, just in case something happens to fly higher than 45 feet and then fall on my head, I'm still covered. I got a safety harness on for obvious reasons. It's tied off to the lift itself. I think we're good to go. Now, if you guys find this content helpful, educational, heck, even a little entertaining, be sure to give it a like. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And when you do subscribe, hit that bell. Make sure YouTube lets you know each and every week when we have new content available. With all that being said, let's get with it. This is Joe Everest, the fence expert. My family's been perfecting their way of building fence for over 60 years, 3 generations. While there's more than one way to build a fence, I'm here to share with you our way. First up, we got a wooden 4x4 through an old chain link gate.
Oh, some good editing skills there.
Yeah.
Impressive.
I've got somebody that's
Next
better
up,
at editing than I
A
am.
wood 4x4 again, this time through an ornamental steel panel. Manufactured domestically with domestic steel. If you're a fence guy, I think we all know who we're talking about.
Nice job on hitting a picket.
Yeah.
I thought you went right through the middle of them.
Also impressive. All right. Those two were about to be as expected, or went about as expected. Now, this is an aluminum panel. I think this is where things are going to get exciting. Again, we're going to go to a 4x4 pressure-treated wood post.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And there you have it. All right. So this time we've got a commercial chain link gate. Now, the 4x4 wood post did do much to the residential chain link gate. I don't think a 4x4 would do much on this gate. So, for just such an occasion, we brought up a cinder block. Give that a try.
Oh.
Now,
Man.
it's worth noting here. So I should have noted it when we dropped it. It had gate clips. So so basically what we did is we went through our scrap gate pile, the ones we take down, but we don't throw away. So someone made this with gate clips, which was the failure point here. Right. So
Yeah.
we probably should have found one that had actually bands instead of clips. But I thought about that after they were destroyed. I was like, oh, we should have also done this.
Also impressive. All right, for this test, we've got another ornamental aluminum panel. We're going to try to drop one of these sideways through it just to see how many spindles it makes it through. Now, the current thought is it's going to make it through 2. Before I drop this, comment in the comments below how many spindles you think this wood 4x4 is going to make it through before it stops.
All right, I'll pause it.
More than 2.
We've got a panel straight up and down. We're dropping a 4x4 down into it. So the question is, how many pickets does it make it through?
More than 2.
More than 2. Sean, Caleb, what do you think?
I think it's going to get at least half of them.
At least
Oh,
half?
wow.
Okay. All right.
It's aluminum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's aluminum. Yep. Import aluminum.
It's going to go through all of them.
I'd take more than one try.
Yeah, think about that. You're 45 foot here dropping a 4-inch post through this thing. As I'm sitting up there, I was like, this wasn't as good of an idea as I thought it was. The boom lift is not rigid, right? So it's moving a little bit. Yeah.
Yep.
Missed it.
Oh, I thought you're going straight down. You're trying to go sideways?
Yeah, that actually, I should have been more clear about that. Yeah, so that was me trying to figure out, okay, what are the chances of a 4x4 hitting this thing straight on? So I was like, all right, I'll throw it sideways. So that skewed the guesses.
That's definitely going to skew it, yeah.
But I really thought it would make it through at least one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a 4x4. It still has the same mass coming down through that thing. I really thought it'd make it through at least one.
Yeah.
Didn't even make it through
I
one.
think Joe's been paid off.
That's a-
To be honest.
Hey, no, listen, I'm taking that steel example to the person that we all know I'm talking about. And I'm going to be like, hey, I've got some footage I think you're going to like to see.
Impressive. So I really thought that last one was going to lead to more destruction. And I want to show you guys destruction. So we flip this thing around. We've got a bigger wood post. This is probably, a 4 to 5 wood round post. Give it another shot.
Now, this one I do drop
Heavier.
straight down.
Let's
Okay.
see. Uh-oh. Moving target.
Missed it.
Yeah. It ends up hitting the bottom like 3 or 4.
Joe, I know how to fix this. You need a piece of PVC pipe strapped to your thing, about a 6-inch piece, and just hang it right over the target. Drop it right down. You'll
Right
nail
through it.
Yep.
Yeah, you'll nail it.
I would do like a 10-foot long piece because it's going to be like a longer barrel of a gun and have it right over top of the panel.
Yeah.
It'll come
Have it
singing
right
right through there.
on top of it.
Yep. Send it.
We're going to have to rent another boom lift.
Yeah, we got to do this again.
We might be doing this in my shop next week.
Now, it stands to reason that if you're in a storm, you're not just going to have one projectile. You will have multiple projectiles. And as luck should have it, we brought up more of these 4x4s than what we needed. So we got 4 4x4s, 1 wood gate, steel framed, I might add. And we'll see. We've got 1 pre-stained picket, if that makes a difference to anybody out there.
Is it cross-grained?
No, it's steel frame.
Holy crap. All right, you got to try that with a cross-grain gate. I bet it doesn't do that.
Well, the frame came out okay. It just destroyed all the pickets in the middle.
Yeah, they didn't hold very well onto the frame.
No.
My goodness.
That's a competitor's gate you took down?
Do what?
That's a competitor's gate that you took down?
No, there's one of our old gates. So it was built for a slope, but is built incorrectly for a slope. So we use it to demonstrate the importance of measuring for correct slope.
Yes.
But I figure hey, we're dropped there's probably it's really unlikely that's going to damage the steel frame on this. So let's just put some scrap pickets on it. We've got a pile of dollar boards. So if anybody can come buy these things for $1. They're like splits and whatnot. So throw a bunch of dollar boards on this and let's drop some 4x4s through it. We came up with this idea and we didn't spend a lot of time thinking about this.
And now, for the grand finale, we've got another commercial gate, 6-foot commercial chain link gate. That's a light commercial gate, looks like 11.5 gauge, so take that for what it's worth. But we also have a sandbag. Let's see how this goes. Right over the brace.
Oh,
It bounced that off the gate.
Missed the brace by a little, but I think you get the point. Coming down. Guys, can't believe it.
love it.
Got down and got to collecting the cameras. Slow-mo camera overheated. So listen, I apologize for not getting you guys that sweet, savory slow-mo footage. But 90 some odd degrees here in the Midwest, about 1,000% humidity. Stuff's getting hot around here. All that being said, I'm sorry. Okay, it should go without saying, but for reasons, I need to tell you guys, if there is a storm, do not take cover behind the fence. Regardless of the results you saw today, it's not a good idea. Don't do it. And guys, I know what you're thinking. Hey, Joe, I've got a 45-foot boom lift and a fence lot. I'm going to go up in the air and throw stuff through fence panels. Well, don't. I don't advise it. I don't encourage it. This is for entertainment only. Don't do it. It's not a good idea. With all that being said, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert. And I'm reminding
I think we all know how that one ends.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a little bit of fun we had with that one.
Joe, you should have left us with a cliffhanger, man. Everybody would have had to watch it then. I would have had to took time off work and go watch the video.
Yeah.
Well,
You should make a protocol. cliffhanger. Don't let us see the
Well,
end.
that's right. Like I said, I'm a fence guy trying to figure out YouTube. So next time
I
I'll
think
leave you guys.
do better though. I think you can do better. You do something epic.
Well, that's the thing is kind of what we thought about. So after we dropped stuff through those and we did the outro, I'm like, guys, I think we could do a couple more of these things. It's like, but here's the thing.
Here's what.
So Apple never puts all of their good ideas into one product, right? They're always thinking about the next product and the product after that. So I was like, all right, we're going to write down the ideas, do it on the next one.
Here's what you need to do, Joe. You need to work with somebody, whoever builds these high security gates, and be there when they run the truck through the gates that stops the truck. You should try to get one of those shoots. That would make some really good stuff, because it's incredible to see a Mack truck stop in its tracks at 80 mile an hour through a gate.
That's the thing. I've watched those videos and they are just incredible. They're unreal.
Yeah.
Probably let you drive the truck.
I could probably talk him into it. What if I provide the truck? Then I get to drive it for sure.
Make sure it's orange.
Oh, it would. Yeah, well, absolutely. If I have to take an orange rattle can spray paint to it, it will be orange. But yeah. Anyway, that's this week's video coming at you. But I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah, the slow-mo camera died for that sandbag one. And that's the one I wanted it for. I wanted it for all of them, obviously. But that one, the sandbag bounced. And as soon as I saw it bounce, I was like, the slow-mo is going to be epic. Well, then I get down, and Jeremy's like, you're not going to believe this. What? Slow-mo camera's dead.
Overheated.
And how's the slow-mo camera dead? Like, the other cameras are going, right? He's like, yeah, but we're stopping those every time. The slow-mo camera, it was really close, so I wasn't having them get near it. So it ran the whole time. I was like, well, how much did it get? I've got no idea. Okay, well, we got to shoot an apology then. And then if we need it, we need it. He's like, it might have just died. I don't know. Like, well, I'll shoot the apology. That way, if we need it, we've got it. And then we ended up, the sandbag. That's the one I wanted. But we tried some slow-mo with the other camera angles we had. And it just, the settings weren't set up for that many frames per second.
Right.
So it just didn't look good. So I was like, well, all right.
Good entertainment, man. I enjoyed it.
Well, and we knew we were going to do another one. So we'll see. We got to think it through on what else we're going to do. But
you need a bigger lift, man. 45 foot. I don't know how you live with yourself.
Well, I know. Well,
you need the fire engine, Springfield fire engine, 110-foot tower.
Oh, you know what?
Community event.
So I know the guys. I know not the chief, but like the assistant chief of the Republic Fire Department where I live. Yeah, we might be able to do something like that. Be like, all right, guys, I heard you. I heard the feedback. 45 foot is not nearly high enough, so we're gonna do this right. All right, guys. Well, we're probably gonna start wrapping this up. If you guys have questions or comments, if you're watching out there, you've got questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. We'd love to answer some last minute questions. Also, hit the thumbs up if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube. Hit that thumbs up or the like button. It helps with the algorithm, or so Jeremy tells me. So
I want Jeremy on there for a 30-minute segment.
I like that idea. Yeah, can we get Jeremy on for a 30-minute segment sometime? Topic: how to shoot action content. I like that a lot. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll bring on. So he's in Virginia for the next couple of weeks visiting family. But yeah, we ought to. I ought to have him on as a guest. Talk about video production in general, like action shots. Obviously, he set all those up. But yeah, just talk about shooting in general, right? We did a studio walkthrough where I talked about the hardware we use. But yeah, we haven't done an actual like how to shoot it video.
Yeah, we need to do that. Get it done.
So Jeremy, as you're watching, remember? Hey, Jeremy, when you're watching this, let's set up a 30-minute, or you just be the guest on one of the upcoming lives. We'll look at the guests that we have lined up and then get you in there, get you in here and have a live shoot. That'd be good. So that's a good subject as well. So we're not having a live next week. There is no Ask the Expert. I'm going to be not vacation. So it's my brother-in-law's bachelor party, and we're going to Padre, go fishing. We're going to fish for sharks, and we're going to fish for sailfins. So we're going to go catch some fish. So I'll be out next week, but the week after, right back here. Ron Musgraves is with us. What an honor. Welcome, Ron. Will H, hello, hello. Ron says, love the testing. Keep up the great work. Mention the free event you all have coming up. Yep, that's a great idea. Let's wrap it up kind of with what we talked about in the beginning for those that came in halfway through the video. So Caleb, we started with Caleb last time. So Sean, why don't you start us off? What are we going to be doing in Virginia here in roughly a month?
We're going to be hanging out with fence and stain guys, talking and dreaming and dissecting fence and staining installation procedures and processes and marketing and advertising your business, right, included in there. We're going to build, for me, we're going to actually build some fence at a ballpark, wood fence. It's going to stay and have purpose. We're going to dissect that procedure 9 different ways to Sunday and try some different methods that maybe some of you haven't seen before and compare them to some methods you've been using back home. Give you some golden nuggets. So over a 2-day period, August 20th through August 21st. Am I right, guys?
Sounds right. That sounds right.
Okay.
Caleb?
In Richmond, Virginia. I guess that's important. The location.
Yeah, it's like just south of Richmond, right?
Yeah, just a little south of Richmond. Yeah, so we're gonna trail behind Sean, and we're gonna stain that beautiful fence he builds. We're gonna show guys how easy it is to do it, the equipment you need to have to do it, and just all the mistakes we learned along the way and what we wish we had known when we started. We're gonna probably find some old dirty wood to clean. We're gonna do wood restoration. So if you're a power washer or thinking about cleaning up the old fences you built 5 years ago to stain as added revenue for your business, we're gonna learn how to do it. We're going to talk about bidding, and Sean's probably going to talk about all this stuff too, but bidding stain jobs. We're going to talk about all the ins and outs of the stain business, the equipment you need or don't need, and just a whole lot. I think the biggest takeaway will be the question and answer, because we're going to have a lot of guys. I know Matt Warner is going to come. My salesman people are going to be there. So we're going to have a lot of people around the table that we can all learn from. So can't wait to do the Q&A. And we're going to have a blast doing it. I'm sure we're going to eat good food. I'm sure they're going to take real good care of us. So come and see us.
One more thing I have before Joe talks about his marketing pieces. I talked to Michael Davis yesterday, and one more person I'm trying to get there to be a guest, and he doesn't know it yet, so we might find out through this video. Michael says bring him on, but Sam Vitello talk about website design. Yeah. The guy is very genius when it comes to that part of the process. So. Matter of fact, my website was launched yesterday. I haven't really advertised it yet. So those of you that stayed through this entire show, go check out the website he just finished. He says it's one of the best ones he's ever done. I have not fully launched it for everybody to see, but it's there. Go mr.fence.com, check it out. Sam Vitello at .com built that site. Very talented.
How long are you taking to build it?
Well, it wasn't his fault it took so long. It was my fault it took so long. I was the delay in that process. Let's say it was a long time. It was probably 6 months.
That's okay.
Yeah, but that's not Sam's fault. I'm going to clarify that right now. That's me dragging and not spending the time on to give him the content.
Send me content. Send me content. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say is Sam's designs. I love that they are content heavy.
Yeah.
Right. They have a ton of content on them, which is what you want. Right. But it's also pretty resource intensive to get that content shot and up and all that.
Yeah.
But once it's done, it is beautiful.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah, if you don't mind, refer him to me. If he's taking on customers, I'd love to talk with him.
Yep.
Yes. Sam, Caleb, you will enjoy talking with Sam.
Blow your mind.
I got a chance to talk to him at Sean's Academy, and this guy is just, he's super humble, right? Yeah. So that's always fun. But he is like, you want to talk about wealth of information. He knows everything there is to know about SEO, about website management, about security. He made that post in some of the Facebook groups the other day about, website security. You need to make sure everything's up to date and all that.
Yep.
I think you'll enjoy talking with him. I really do.
Nice. Is Mr. Fence on the ground there? I'm seeing, all the pictures of, I'm looking at the website. And where all your trucks are parked out there, did you guys add that, or do you actually have that painted on your parking lot?
We added that. My social media guy did that. My Jeremy, he did that. That's pretty fantastic. I was blown away.
I'm
Wouldn't it be
surprised.
cool if it was painted? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have that painted, man.
Uh, it'll be next.
I was gonna say, give it to Monday.
I'm busting his chops here, man.
Well, yeah, guys, at the event. So what I'm going to do is we're going to talk about marketing and specifically video. Obviously, I enjoy making video. I enjoy marketing. We can also talk about just business subjects, that sort of thing. Basically, running a business, specifically how to reach out to clients and make sure that they know you're there is what I'm up. So, guys, if you're interested in the event, we actually have the registration link. If you're watching us on YouTube, it's in the description below. If you're watching on Facebook, navigate over to YouTube. It's in the description of this video. So that you can register to come. It's a free event. That's very important to talk about. Completely free. You just need to get yourself there. Transportation, hotels on you. Once you get yourself there, the rest of it's for free. I think that's huge.
Love it.
Yep. It's going to have a blast.
Kayla, if you don't mind, shoot me a text where you're staying. I haven't made arrangements yet, and I want to get that done because here's what we learned about Nashville or at Nashville. If you don't get yourself scheduled in time, you run out. Or you doing?
They're getting group rates for hotel.
They're getting a group rate for a hotel. It's called Kings. It's called something. We'll send it to you, but they're doing a group rate somewhere. So
perfect.
Be good to get us all in one spot because
maybe somebody listening will drop the sign up. We got a sign up sheet. We try to get everybody signed up so we can know how many people are coming.
It's in the description.
Okay, Joe's already on it. Awesome.
Yeah, there's a link in the description below to sign up. Absolutely.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'm going to make my arrangements. I'll probably make them today before everything fills up. We learned that in Nashville, and so we'll plan on being in Richmond in roughly a month. I mean, month and 10 days or something.
Yeah, perfect. And guys, come to these events. You're going to get around people that are going to propel you forward. That's why we're doing it. Everybody says, "Why are you doing free events?" Well, we learn just as much at these events, as everybody else does. Probably more because we can see it all and we can pick up on things. And it's good. It's really good to do these. So do yourself a favor.
If we're talking about the mission of this channel, like why are we doing this, right? Why am I investing money and doing all this stuff in the channel? First and foremost, the mission is to improve the industry through education, right? And there's several of us that have that mission, but that's the goal. A rising tide raises all the ship. I say it all the time, and I absolutely believe it, that through these training events. So Caleb and I have talked about before that they're free, right? And there's not many, if any, free trainings out there like this. I mean, he could absolutely charge for this, right? If we're talking about training events that I've been to in other places, not necessarily in fencing, but in general, like this is a $400 or $500 ticket event. It really is. Right. So, but in talking with Caleb, so I have to speak for Caleb because he won't say this. He's too humble for it. But
I think, Joe, if you want to talk about it, I think it's more like a $2,500 event ticket because you're getting people that are in my industry. They're charging $1,000. People in Sean's, they're going to charge $1,000. They're $1,000. And then what does a consultant cost? What would it cost to go sit down with a guy who's running a $10 million company and sit down? All of them are going to be there. You can't buy this kind of stuff. So I think you say a $300 or $400 ticket. I think that's just. I think it's. I think you're selling yourself short. So I think it's an invaluable ticket. If you can bring your people. If you bring your people to events, they become they get into the groove of what we're doing. They understand that, hey, this isn't just a job, man. I am a fence installation professional. I'm a staining professional, and like you said, it does wonders for your team and for yourself. So come and do it. You can't put a price on it. That's why it's free.
Well, that's it. And like I said, Caleb might talked about why is it free? Why doesn't he charge? And the thing is, the nightmare scenario is somebody doesn't go because they can't afford it. Right. And so was that the next one of the leaders of our industry in 10 years that might not be because they couldn't afford to go to that first training.
Yeah.
Right. That's a nightmare scenario I think for all of us really. But I mean, that's it, guys. That's why it's free.
I get really frustrated when guys say they can't make it because they're too busy or they have a deadline or they have something they have to get done.
Yep.
And I would challenge you and step up and say, wrong. Can't afford not to go based on time. I don't care what project it is. I get people with our trainings, like, well, I wish I could make it, but I got this job I get done, and I can't go that day. Reality of it is, if a monsoon or hurricane were to come in and shut your company down, you wouldn't work anyways.
Yeah,
No,
you
you
figure
wouldn't,
it out.
and you would survive. So what the problem is, you don't see the value in the training is what the problem is, and the value is greater than what you can imagine. Get and go.
Agreed.
No excuses.
Well, guys, once again, Roger's keeping this show on track.
Yep,
Right? It's
we gotta
time
go.
to do birthday stuff. Agreed. Thank you, Roger. I appreciate you. Caleb, Sean, thank you for your time. I know everybody's time is valuable, and you guys are both so giving of it, and I appreciate that a lot.
Thanks.
Guys, have a great weekend.
You too. You
Yeah,
too.
same to you guys.
Guys out there, until next time, remember again, next week, we're not going to have a live. So in 2 weeks, I'll see you guys again. But until then, Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors.
Good neighbors.
See you.
See ya.
See you guys.